Well, it's the high noon show. I apologize. It's not exactly high noon. It's not. But it is time for our theme song that is not plugged in. Oh, we're going late. Hold on. Yikes. All right. There you go. I thought I had it.
Daily news from celebrities, maybe I ran. Get your water cooler fix. Get your water cooler fix. Show runs on your tips. Get your water cooler fix. Pugs and Company. 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 Pugs and Company.
Now, I know what you're saying. You're going, Pugs, you've had that theme song for a long, long time, and you only played it a couple of times. All right, hold on. Shut up, CNN. You're like, you only played it a couple of times. I forgot I had it. I forgot I had it until, we had a revelation the other day that the person who wrote and created that song for our daily get-together here on the High Noon Show, Rob, who is in the chat room a lot, although I haven't seen him lately. I have not seen him in the last week or so. That's all right. It's understood. Rob wrote that song. He's in a San Francisco band called Witch Kitty, who just put out a new album that is really good. I mean, it's really good. We promoted it. We'll do it again because I love Rob and I go back 30 years with Rob. Rob was a dude in a band that I managed. Rob's first band, maybe. I don't know. He was like 18 or something, 19. But anyway, that's Rob. That's the theme song. We're going to play it now because here's what I've come to learn about that theme song. Doesn't matter. The show is stupid. I'm an idiot. I'm a narcissist. I do this every day, 2 years running. We're in the third year now. We know all of. Go ahead, shoot your arrows at me. I get it. But that's a good song. That is a good poppy song. If you were to just take all of the stupid lyrics out that are specific to this show and just write a Maroon 5 song or something, throw some Adam Levine lyrics in there. That's actually a really catchy song. And I don't know why I ever doubted it. I mean, Rob is a hook master. Rob has always been really good at hooks. All right, folks, welcome in. It is the High Noon Rant or High Noon Report, whichever you want to call it. It ain't noon. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. We had a little thing. We had a thing this morning, but, just an hour. That's cool. We got nowhere to be. Man, that sad realization just hit me like a ton of bricks. Let's say hi to our people in the chat room. Who do we have? Come on, everybody, get in the chat room. Grab your futons, your beanbag chairs, pull them up in your soul circle of life. Join hands and let's move together in positivity and optimism. Leslie's here. Rainy Days is here. Al is here. Jen is here. Peter's here. Jeff here. And ladies and gentlemen, the executive producer for today's show, Cam. Cam's here. Here's what I love about Cam. See, this show runs on your gratuities. This show runs by you dropping a little something in the tip jar as you filter past my daily bar this afternoon. A little something, just like a bartender, whatever it is. Some people do that. Some people drop a little something every day. Terry's very good at that. Barney, you got your who else? Oh, Peter's doing his bit. I got Peter. Peter's dropping me $5.55 every day until the Rangers lose. And, I am rooting for the Rangers, but that's going to hurt when that ends. That's not going to be fun. That's going to be like, oh, man. Let's hope it ends with us hoisting a World Series trophy. So thank you to Peter and Terry, Barney, for helping us out as well. So, but Cam dropped a bomb. Cam does that. Cam tips, once a month, and he typically drops a bomb. So thank you so much, Cam. You're the executive producer of the show. If you would like to be executive producer of the show, all you got to do is drop a bomb on this show at some point during the show, and then you are the person responsible for that there next day's show. So this show exists, albeit late. I'm sorry. The show started an hour late because I was choking on the generous donation of producer Cam. Thank you. Cam can say how much. Cam's in the chat room. Because people are like, well, how much did he get? It was very nice and very generous, and it's typical of Cam. So thank you very much. He's free to mention it if he wants. I don't out people's financial situations. My boy Pete's showing up now. Hi, Pete. Let's go, Rangers. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, man. All right, let's just pace ourselves, okay? We'll pace ourselves. What do we do here on this show? You're probably wondering, who is this guy? Who is this heavy-set middle-aged man who seems to talk a mile a minute? Well, my name is Pugs Moran, and I do this every day, and here's what we do. We just service. It's utilitarian. I do it for you. For yous. I give you, I wake up at the crack of dawn with the rooster's crow. Is that a rooster? Is that a rooster? I found out yesterday I can't do a goat anymore. I used to be able to do a... Whoa, is it back? Whoa, I couldn't do that yesterday. Okay, it's coming back. Whatever. I just found out I can't do a rooster either. Aging sucks, kids. All right. This show is a 2-hour stream of consciousness on all the hot topics, current events, headlines, whatever it is that people are buzzing about in this here world. I'm going to, over the course of at least the next 2 hours, try and explain it to you. I tell you what the topic is, why it's trending. I give you my hot take, and then we move on. We do not get involved in politics. Screw that. We do not get involved in anything divisive. That's some bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host on the show. Sometimes you'll hear the disembodied voice of narcissistic. No, narcissistic me is the one you get. That's schizophrenic me, ladies and gentlemen. He's the voice inside my head who tells me everything that I've ever thought was a great idea is a complete waste of time and I'm a failure and no one will ever believe that I came up with it. That's him. He's there. So it's a stream of consciousness on all the day's news and no breaks, no stops, no commercials, no nothing. So you never know what you're going to get. It's a filter. Here's why I'm comfortable doing this. A friend of mine in radio about a year ago said to me, he goes, you're really just kind of just going for it, aren't you? You just talk. I go, yeah. I go, mm-hmm. He goes, man, that's dangerous. That's funny. Good thing you're streaming, right? He said that like, man, good thing you're streaming. Like I'm going to accidentally say something awful that'll get me canceled. And you know what I said to him? I go, I don't worry about that because I'm not a piece of shit. And really, isn't that all you got to be in this world these days? Just don't be a piece of shit. You can have hot takes. You can have, opinions that people disagree with, but just don't be a piece of shit. So that's what we do here. It's a stream of consciousness. I try not to be a piece of shit. If I get too far, you good folks in the chat room, you rein me back in. Chat room is a big part of this. Chat room is a nice, I would love for this chat room to grow as a place for people to hang out with, but it's been 2 years. We're not really growing. That's been a bit of a disappointment. But, and the ones we got you people. We are family. Sister Sledge in the house. All right. What else do I need to mention? We do another stream. We do this every day at noon, Monday through Friday on the Radio Misfits podcast and live streaming platform. We also do the Radio Misfits live stream, which is at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's myself and James Parker. Come join us tonight, 9 o'clock for more casual conversation. As I say, this is utilitarian. Once we get, oh my God, if you're like listening to this for the first time, you're like, who's this fat guy and won't want to shut up? Oh, you wait. We'll get rolling. We'll start cranking it up. I'm really bad at jumping straight in. I like to get a little bit of a flow going. So that's what this is. What up, Frankie? My guy Frankie in the chat room. Frankie sent me Frank dropped a tip the other day. And thank you for that. Frank dropped a tip the other day, and he puts in the message, I'm sorry I made you mad at me. And I was like, what? Mad at Frank? First of all, I'm always mad at Frank. I mean, me and Frank, we go back 20 years. We're like family. So we're all not mad at him. I had to mute Frank like 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, I muted Frank on my Twitter just because Frank's a very political guy. And, I was just getting tired of seeing political stuff on my thing. So I muted all the political people. But Frankie, baby, I'm not mad at you. You're my guy. Oh, now look who's showing up. The troublemaker to end all troublemakers. Adam's here. Adam and I go way back too. I love you guys. You guys are the best. All right, what do you say we get started? It is the High Noon Report. I am Pugs Maroon. That was not intentional. That was me having a tiny stroke where for a minute there, I couldn't even pronounce my own name. That's weird. Let's watch that and see how it develops. ... It's the High Noon Report for the 18th day of October, year of our Lord 2023. Did you know that there are 291 days in this year that are already in the books. That means 74 more until New Year's Eve. Get those plans started. That's what we always say. We always say get those plans started. Whatever. 2 years into that running gag, and it's just, it's never been funny. Now it's just part of my verbal acne. You guys know what verbal acne is? This whole opening, the first 20 minutes of this show is almost always verbal acne. It's just stuff you've said before that you're just recycling and spitting it back out without, having to think about it. Let's see here. What are we doing? Okay, yeah, I should explain. 4 quarters. I look at this stream like it's 4 quarters. It's a football game. First quarter, we do erstwhile on this day. We look back on all of the events that have shaped this day throughout history. Then we do birthdays. We look at the people who were born on this day. We celebrate. Sometimes we crap on some people, whatever. It depends. We're just having fun. Then we do the deaths. These are the people who have passed away on this day in history. We go through them and we get to sit in judgment. This is where we have a little fun. This is where we take all of our understanding of heaven and hell and what it takes to get you into heaven and what it takes to get you into hell. We take all of that understanding and we look at the life resume of the people who died on this day and we decide where'd they go. Then, after we do that, erstwhile on this day, things that have happened in history, birthdays, and deaths on this day. Once we do those 3, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, then we move into the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter is the bulk of the show. It's the meat, really. It's all the things that are happening on this day. So if you're ready, what do you say we get started and do a little erstwhile on this day? Previously, on October the 18th. On October the 18th, 1851, Herman Melville's Moby Dick is first published. You know what it was called when it was first published? The Whale. Fun fact, on this day in 1867, the United States takes possession of Alaska after Perchuring. Yeah, that's another. I'm having a stroke. We're watching me have a stroke. The United States takes possession of Alaska after purchasing it from Russia for $7.2 million. This is celebrated annually in the state of Alaska as Alaska Day. That was not that hard of a reach. Alaska, look at that. Welcome to the party, Alaska, on this day. We ain't done nothing with you. Alaska is like, Alaska is America's jet ski in the driveway. That's what Alaska is. We're going to do something. One day we're going to take that jet ski out to the lake, but for the last 130 something years, 156 years. Wow, good math on the fly. Pat myself on the back. 156 years ago, we bought that jet ski that we called Alaska, and we ain't taking it. We ain't done nothing with it yet. Not even drilling the oil there. We got all kinds of, there was so much fun to be had with Alaska, but we ain't doing none of it. It's the Alaska. Alaska is the jet ski in the driveway of America. On this day in, this one was more appropriate. On this day in 1898, the United States takes possession of Puerto Rico from Spain. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's a lot closer to America than Alaska is. I'll say that. And they're both way closer than Hawaii is. So why isn't Puerto Rico a state? I don't get this. What is the reason that Puerto Rico, it seems like it should be. It seems like it totally should be. And there's no reason Puerto Rico isn't a state. Wouldn't that be good? Or is it, here's what I think the problem with Puerto Rico is. And it says we don't want brown people. Oh, shut up. They turned Puerto Rico into a state. There's going to be people from Minnesota moving there like this. So stop it with that. It's just more beachfront property than America can own. I'm sure it would be an amazing state if we just went full metal and turned it into a state. Here's what I think the problem is, and I'm not kidding. It ain't racism. It ain't made up. No, it's not that. I mean, that's an easy one. Here's what it is. And this is absurd. Oh, and this can't be it. When I tell you, you're going to be like, that can't be it. And I'm going to be like, really? You don't think that our government is capable of something like that? Here's why Puerto Rico is not a state. We like 50. We like the 50 states. It's a round number. They don't want to change everything. And they're like, what is Puerto Rico? See, now Alaska, they got natural resources up the wazoo. Alaska, remember the jet ski in our driveway? Alaska, push comes to shove, we might need to tap Alaska. We might need to finally take that jet ski out on the lake if push comes to shove. So we're going to keep Alaska. What do we got in Puerto Rico? Hot chicks and nice beaches? I don't know. Maybe that's it. And 50. I'm telling you, it's 50. On this day in 1898, America takes possession of Puerto Rico. On this day in 1922, the The BBC started. That's all we need to know. 1922, the BBC started on this day. Parliament, they passed a law that said we need radio shows. On this day in 1954, Texas Instruments announces the Regency TR1. What's that? It's the first mass-produced transistor radio. What are you people? Okay, so let me tell you something. The great leaps in technology throughout time. You got your printing press, got your cotton gin, got your combustible engine, your aeroplane. You got this too, man. The first mass-produced transistor, which allowed human beings to take broadcast content out into the world, into the wild, going wherever they went. Man, that was revolutionary. T.I. should be very proud of that. Now, of course, that all looks stupid because, well, now we're tech. Now we got the digital revolution and computers. Right, but that's unfair. That's like when a kid today watches the original Star Wars and goes, man, this movie looks really cheaply made. And then you need to explain to them about how it was the most earth-shattering special effects of its time and that everything that they see now and enjoy today and take for granted owes everything to George Lucas and Star Wars. You got to explain that. What are you going to do? That's what the transistor is. Happy birthday, Texas Instruments. You did a good thing on this day. On this day in 2019, NASA astronauts Jessica Meyer and Christine Koch take part in the first all-female spacewalk when they ventured out of the International Space Station to replace a power controller. Did they have special Lululemon spacesuits? Were they like out there? Were they out there in their little Lululemon spacesuits, like power walking with humorously giant goblets of wine? Well, they're just out there walking. No, see, let me tell you something about this. What are we supposed to do with this information? We are commemorating the day, the first time two women went out and did a spacewalk together. It was the first time it was two women. It was, what are we commemorating? That it's the first time that, it was like, well, let's let the ladies have it. It seems condescending to women. It seems like we're pandering to them. Look at what these girls were able to do. Look, see, that I always wince at that kind of stuff. The first black surgeon. I didn't even know they could read. It's so yeah. So on this day in 2019, we're commemorating that it's the first time two women were capable of doing spacewalks together long before 2019. The fact that these two did it, good for them. But how about we just shut up and pretend like we're not embarrassed that we wouldn't let women go to space for the first 50 years? Right? I mean, let's just shut up and just make it a normal thing. It doesn't need to be celebrated, because when we celebrate it, it just feels condescending. It really does. Like yesterday we listened to, on the Radio Misfits show, the 9 o'clock stream, we listened to a piece of video of a girl at, James says a record store. I thought a convenience store, but maybe it was a record store. A girl getting hit on by a guy. She's a clerk. She's just, working the register at this store. And she turned her phone on herself, so all we saw was her, and we heard this guy hitting on her. And at the very end of it, he goes, are you on Instagram? And she goes, no. And he goes, oh, well, you're the one girl on Instagram. Why aren't you on Instagram? And she goes, well, I don't like social media. And she goes to this well thought out, thoughtful thing that she has obviously contemplated. And she says she's not on social media. And the dude goes, you're cute. And I just thought, oh my God, this guy is so self-unaware. He just thought, you're cute. Oh, you've got a deep, well-contemplated thought about, what's happening within greater society. And I'm just going to boil it down to, you're cute for trying to use your brain. That's what we do. Condescend to women. I was raised by a single mom. From the moment I slid out into this world, the first time I needed something, I understood that a woman was capable of everything that a man can do. My mom could have done a spacewalk. I don't know how she'd kept her cigarette lit. Oh, that's right. She smoked in the 70s. And she quit. That's pretty good, though. All right, so there you have it. That's erstwhile on this day. All the things that occurred on this day. Now let's move into Juana Bada Bada. They say it's their birthday. I have no way to prove it, don't have access to born on this day in 1926, Chuck Berry's birth certificate. Don't have access to it, but they say it's his birthday. Chuck Berry. Is Chuck Berry, all right, no, so let me think about Chuck Berry, because is he the Wop Babalooba? Is that him? Is that Chuck Berry? Chuck, I do see, here's what I'm not a big Chuck Berry music fan, because that early 50s, early rock and roll, not really my thing. Like, it seems, again, look at me. Remember, I was making fun of kids who are like, I can't watch Star Wars movies because they look cheap. Well, I do not have the generational appreciation for that era of music the way other people do. I respect the people who do. They were there. They remember when that didn't exist at all. So they heard that, they have that experience. That's part of their life. That's not me. So not my generation, not my thing. It all sounds very like first generation rock and roll, which is fine, which is what a lot of people like. I don't know anything about Chuck Berry other than he filmed girls taking poops in his restaurant in St. Louis. Chuck Berry, ladies and gentlemen, born on this day in 1926. One of the godfathers of rock and roll and scat enthusiast. Born on this day in 1927. Happy birthday to one of the real dudes. Love this guy, George C. Scott. George C. Scott's so badass. 3 must-see George C. Scott movies. First and foremost, incredible in Dr. Strangelove, my all-time favorite movie. 2, Patton. Really? You haven't seen Patton and you go around telling people you've got testicles. You got to see Patton. Patton is so good. Can't wait to watch Patton. Going to watch Patton with my 14-year-old son. Haven't done it yet. Don't want him to fight me on it. Pretty sure he's gonna. I know he's going to love the movie, but he's going to fight me on it for the first 40 minutes, and I'm not really looking forward to that. But we're going to see that. Strangelove, Patton, and you guys, have you ever seen Hardcore? Hardcore, man. George C. Scott in Hardcore. Oh, it is the most gut-wrenching movie you've ever seen. I made it in like the mid-70s, I think. George C. Scott plays a dad whose daughter has ran away from home. His teen daughter ran away from home and became a porn star. And George C. Scott hunts her down across America's seediest porn theater. This is back before like porn on computer. This is back when if you wanted to watch porn, you had to announce to your community that you were a sexual degenerate by walking into the local adult dirty movie theater. That's what you had to do. That was not like now. No, not like now. Now, let the degenerates run free. Look, that's progress. That's progress. Sexual shame and sexual proclivities are your thing. You should be able to do whatever you want, whatever, and all that. Blah, blah, blah. George C. Scott. So he goes to all of these like theaters, these sex theaters, looking for his runaway daughter. And there is a scene in Hardcore. I'm sure it's on video. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I could probably find it. Don't want to derail the show, though. There is a scene where the camera is just trained on him. He's sitting in a movie theater. He's sitting in one of these dirty 1970s adult movie theaters. And the camera is trained on him and only him. And you hear the sound. He's watching the film. You hear the sound. You hear the noise. You hear the erotic whatever. And it slowly becomes obvious because of George C. Scott's acting in just his face. It's just his face. That's his daughter getting railed on the screen. It is the most, gut-wrenching. I was a kid watching this. First of all, no parental supervision, apparently. Hey, whatever ABC wanted to throw on the 10:30 movie must be fine. I'm like a kid watching this. I don't even understand the relationship between a father and a daughter, but that dude's acting, I was like, whoa, crazy. George C. Scott, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1927. Born on this day in 1928, Hernelli from Keith Jackson. Bo Schembechler. Keith Jackson, the voice of college football for Gen X. Okay, you kids, Gus Johnson's fine. You kid, look, there was a time in this country where it was one guy who did college football. Now there's like a million guys. I got Brady Quinn on my TV doing. Just saying, there was a time it was Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy. That's who I liked. Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy. He's dead now, but he was awesome. Born on this day in 1928. How about another old football cuss? Forrest Gregg, great Green Bay Packer. Head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, Forrest Gregg, born on this day, 1933. Born on this day in 1935, against all odds, that guy actor became a household name. Happy birthday, Peter Boyle. Peter Boyle wasn't no leading man, but you know his name and you know who he is. He's a that guy actor who somehow did what most that guy actors can't do. Cross that Rubicon of incognito, in the land of incognito. I don't know. I'm streaming. Anyway, Peter Boyle, good for him. Born on this day. And now he's also dead. So that's not good for him, but whatever. Born on this day in 1938, also dead, Dawn Wells, Marianne from Gilligan's Island. I was a Marianne guy, like, the ginger Marianne guy, but that's my mom's name. And it was always weird for me. I don't know. It's just weird, but I was definitely a Marianne guy. If we're going just on like physical appearance, Marianne was more my speed. However, and this is the argument that I always make to people, this is a fantasy. Like, what is the question? Like, we're going to get married and live in a suburb and I'm going to have a job that pays me a middle-class income and we're going to put kids through. Is that the question when they say Ginger or Marianne? Is that the question? Because if that's the question, then it's Marianne. But if the question is, who'd you rather do right now? How do you turn down the Hollywood movie star? How do you turn that down? So there is only one question. See, because I interpret that to be the more lascivious question. Ginger or Marianne, which one? But some people are like, Marianne, because they're all like, I want to hold her hand. Well, yeah, I want to hold Marianne's hand too. I mean, she seems like she'd be nice to be buried next to. Not Ginger. Ginger is one night in a story you tell your buddies for the rest of your life while you're married to Marianne. That's how you do life. Thanks. That's me. That's how you do it. But happy birthday, Dawn Wells. She was born on this day. She's Marianne. Born on this day in, oh, Jesus, now I got, happy birthday, Coach. The Coach Ditka, Mike Ditka, born on this very day. Oh, the earth cracked open there in Western Pennsylvania and spit out one of the hardest son of a bitches who's ever walked this earth. Mike Ditka, born on this day in 1939. He's an asshole. He is just an asshole. But I love him. What can I tell you? I love him. He's Coach. I love him, but he is an asshole, man. He's like a dick. He doesn't like anybody. Nobody likes him. He's just, actually, that's not true. That's not true. The story with Mike Ditka is that, like, it's that thing they say about a lot of these people. It's like, you got to get to know him. I mean, you just got to get to know him. And once he gets to know you, he is like the most loyal. And I've heard that from a number of people who are like, no, man, you got Ditka all around. But he's just an asshole to everybody else. Yeah, what are you looking at? He's like one of those guys. I guess I can't be his friend, but I can admire his swagger. Mike Ditka, born on this day in 1939. Born on this day, umbilical twins with Mike Ditka, another asshole. This guy's a big dopey asshole. Although I think that was his cover. I don't think this guy was as dopey as I think he was. Lee Harvey Oswald, born on this day in 1939. Lee Harvey Oswald, namesake of one of the great bars here in Dallas, Lee Harvey's. If that bar is even still open, my God, I haven't been there and used to go a lot. Used to love that place. Born on this day in 1951. Here's somebody else I loved. Here's somebody I loved, but I never had any, even. So when I was 6 years old watching Gilligan's Island, and we were talking about the Ginger and Marianne thing, when I was 6 years old watching Gilligan's Island, I was attractive. I didn't know what it was, because I'm 6, 7, 8 years old. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that, va-va-voom was coming from Ginger, and I knew that Marianne looked like somebody who I wanted to play kissy face with. Maybe that, very early on. No sex stuff, because I was a kid. I didn't know what va-va-voom was. I just know something was stirring when I look at this bombshell. So around that same time, or maybe even a couple of years later, I was introduced to another woman who I fell in love with, but it wasn't sexual at all, and that's Pam Dauber, Mindy. Oh, did I love Mindy? I wanted to protect Mindy. I think my attraction to Mindy was more like the teacher you really like. It wasn't sexual. Like I never found Pam Dauber to be, maybe that was the appeal of her, right? Maybe that was that she was just supposed to be, I don't know. Because how would Mork and Mindy have worked if he would have, landed in Colorado at the home of like a Broncos cheerleader? Probably that would have probably fit with what ABC was doing in the 1970s. Oh, speaking of, guys, remember I told you I fell into a wiki hole. I have this new thing, this new passion that I do when I try to fall asleep, and it keeps me up, and I need to stop doing it. I need to do it before I try and fall asleep. So I found these compilations on YouTube, and they're all compilations of opening sequences, like, credit theme songs and all of that, introductions of the stars. It's all from television shows throughout time. So I'll give you an example. Like, it'll say the title on YouTube will be all the mid-season replacement shows for 1984. Or it'll say NBC's new fall lineup, 1979. And it'll just be all the new shows. Like, and of course, some of them have gone on to be iconic classics. Most of them totally forget. I don't even remember. I'm like, what? I think I remember that. Anyway, I'm watching this one yesterday. What was it called? It was some weird name like, Cat and was it? Yes, it was Cat and Dog. ABC Saturday nights at 8:00 this summer. It's Cat and Dog. He's a cop. She's a cat burglar, and they got a thing. And I'm watching this unfold. I'm watching like this, why not Cat and Dog? It's a show. It's not a sitcom. It's more like Starsky and Hutch. So it's very actiony. And I'm watching the opening sequence. I'm like, man, I don't remember this. And then they show the guy, and it's like starring Paul G. Hamilstone. And I'm like, yeah, Paul G. Hamilstone never went on to do anything again. Never heard of Paul G. Hamilstone. And then I'm looking at the woman, and I'm going, well, she's attractive. How come I never saw her again? So Dog is Paul G. Hamilstone or whatever. I don't even know. It's just some forgettable name. So Dog, the cop, is Hamilstone. And then I'm like, the girl, who's the girl? And I'm like, I don't even recognize. I've never seen this girl anymore. And I turn away, and it's like Kim Basinger. And I'm like, whoa! Kim Basinger had a failed ABC Starsky and Hutch, but with like a dude and a girl kind of thing. Anyway, that was fun. I don't know how I got on that. Oh, because we were talking about Pam Dauber and Mork and Mindy. Happy birthday, Pam Dauber, born on this day in 1951. Born on this day in 1954, Bob Weinstein, the good Weinstein. No, not really. I don't imagine either of them are good. But Bob is not Harvey. Bob and Harvey Weinstein, of course, formed Miramax, the film company. Miramax, a mashup of Mira and Max, the mom and dad of Harvey and Bob Weinstein. Miramax became one of the most powerful players in Hollywood history, really. I mean, you want to talk about a trophy cabinet. A Miramax film was guaranteed to be nominated for an Oscar every year for about 30 years. So they really took that high top shelf sort of lane in Hollywood, and they dominated it. Harvey Weinstein, now he was the guy in charge of production, which means Harvey Weinstein was the guy who had to be like, I'll make you a star. We're going to greenlight this picture. That was Harvey Weinstein. So he became sort of the guy that most people knew because he was the one that did all that. Not Bob, not our birthday boy. Bob was back in accounting. Bob was back going, Bob was doing all that back in accounting. He's the guy that made Miramax worth like $20 billion. So Bob, I don't even know what's going on now, but Bob Weinstein, happy birthday. Your brother's in jail. And you probably should be too, but I'll catch you on nothing. Born on this day in 1960, another Gen X television superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday, the lovely Erin Moran. She's dead. Yeah, she's dead too. Died in Joni Cunningham. Saw a Happy Days promo yesterday. It was all the fall or the ABC's fall lineup Wednesday night, for 1978 or whatever. And it was Happy Days did Monday Happy Days. They showed that, and then it was on right after Happy Days, a show that seems to have pilfered Happy or stolen Happy Days, a show called Blansky's Beauties. Remember the quicker picker upper lady? Remember that lady who was the quicker picker? Bounty, the quicker picker, Nancy or something. I don't know what her name is. She worked at a cafeteria for like 50 years. She did that on TV. It's the quicker picker. She was Blansky. Blansky's Beauties was a show that was on after Happy Days, a show that birthday girl Erin Moran starred in. Blansky's Beauties was so Fred Silverman, ABC, 1978 or 77, whatever it was. And by that, because remember we talked about Fred Silverman before. Fred Silverman was the guy who took over ABC. ABC was a last place network. Fred Silverman took it over and said, let's just do girls with big tits and tight shirts. And that's what ABC did. And they went to number one. Charlie's Angels, Love Boat, Fantasy Island. There was a rule about Love Boat where there had to be so many bikini shots in the background per episode. That was a Fred Silverman rule. So that's why Isaac became a character, because they needed a reason to shoot around the pool. So they went, let's hire a black guy, make him a bartender, and show all the beautiful white women in bikini. It's crazy. That was Fred Silverman. So, Blansky's Beauties, that fit the Fred Silverman thing. It was the quicker picker-upper lady. She lived in Vegas, and she was basically a whoremonger. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. You ready for the pitch on Blansky's Beauties? All right, it's an old woman. She lives in a big house in Vegas, and she's surrounded by 15 beautiful showgirls and models and wannabe actors, and it's in Vegas. And it's a whorehouse. It was a show about a woman who was running a Vegas whorehouse. Also starring Chachi. That's right, Scott Baio as the innocent kid that grew up in the whorehouse in Vegas. That's going to be hysterical. Let's put that on the air. Blansky's Beauties. It didn't last. Look it up. Look it up on Wikipedia. I am not lying. Dude, I remember it vaguely, but I'm watching the opening sequence, the credit sequence for Blansky's Beauties, which, by the way, didn't it star somebody? There was one of the chicks was like, went on to be something. I don't know. Anyway, so they're showing Blansky's Beauties. And I'm watching this and I'm going, oh my God. Cause like at 8 years old, I wouldn't have picked it up. But now I'm like, oh my God, these are whores. She's a madam. These are prostitutes. They're just not saying it. They're in Vegas. They're struggling showgirls. They're constantly going out on dates. In the quicker picker-upper lady, Nancy Walker, that's her name. Nancy Walker, the quicker picker lady. She was always like, chasing guys out of the house, like who overstayed the amount that they paid for. I'm just saying, it was a weird show. And it came on after Happy Days. And Chachi was in it. So they stole Chachi from Happy Days and they put him in it. And you know who else was in it? They stole the big ragu. They stole Carmine from Laverne and Shirley and they put Eddie Mecca in it. Blansky's Beauties. Now I want to watch Blansky's Beauties. We should do a Blansky's Beauties watching party. It'll be me and like two other nerds, but whatever. I'm putting it out there. All right. Happy birthday to Erin Moran. She dead. So, she can't hear us. Born on this day in 1960. How about JCVD? Jean-Claude Van Damme. Is that guy bad? All right, so there were a lot of these martial arts badasses that came out of the 80s, and like most of them weren't real. Like not at all, but they all had PR. They all had, he served in the Israeli military. They all had these backstories. What was up with Jean-Claude Van Damme? Was he real? Was he real? And don't revert. Like right now, there's some dude in the chat room and you've just stopped being your grown-ass man, and now you're 13 again, and you're going, yeah, he killed 15 people. Stop it. Really, seriously, what is Jean-Claude Van Damme's background? Is he just a club fighter, or is he like a multi-time world champion and all that kind of stuff? Because, like, Seagal is the one that's like, Seagal's the one who you wonder, you're like, there's a lot of that. I can't talk about my training because it's so, oh, fuck you. Shut up, dumbass. Chuck Norris is real. We know Chuck Norris is real. Bruce Lee is obviously real. Who else is real? I don't know if Jean-Claude Van Damme. I don't know if he's real or not. I don't know. All right, moving on. More birthdays. We got a lot of birthdays today. Happy birthday. She's adorable. She's a little cutie. Born on this day in 1973. Football lady, Rachel Nichols. Rachel Nichols, football lady. She got that name. Fun fact about Rachel Nichols. She got that name because she married Mike Nichols' son. That's right. Rachel Nichols' father-in-law is the great American comedy writer, film director, icon, Mike Nichols. Nichols and May. That's her dad. Or her stepdad. Or her father-in-law. Born on this day in 1987, Zac Efron. I don't know, he's just what a handsome young D-bag. He can get out of here. Born on this day in 1990, Brittany Griner. Oh, we all gave her our hearts. Oh, Brittany. Born on this day in 1990, Bristol Palin. How's Bristol Palin looking? I remember looking at her. I remember thinking, she looks just like her mom. And her mom was really hot. Like Sarah Palin is. So if she like first of all, how old is she? Like, well, I don't know, Pugs. It's her birthday. Why don't you just do the math, you lazy? Okay, so she's 33 today. She's 33. I'd like to see it. That's seasoned. That's a grown-ass woman. I'd like to see what she turned into. What was her deal? Why did Bristol Palin become famous? Oh, because she had a Federline, right? Didn't she have like a Federline boyfriend? Wasn't that a thing? Like when Sarah Palin was like in the spotlight, didn't her daughter have like a dirt bag, like Alaska white trash meth head kind of? Yeah, that's what it was. Happy birthday, Bristol Palin. All right, there we go. Now we're going to do the thing that I love to do, is my favorite part. This is where we sit in judgment of the people who have died on this day. We take a look at all of those fine folks and their life resumes, what they've contributed to the greater society, and we decide whether or not they're in heaven or hell. First one, dead on this day, 1931. Ladies and gentlemen, where did Thomas Edison go? Thomas Edison, American engineer and businessman, inventor of the phonograph. Now, you might just want to go, he changed the world, he's a great man, and of course, he's sitting at the side of Jesus in heaven. Shut up. First of all, don't give me the, he's a great man. I believe, I don't know what the percentages are. I'd have to think about this. But I think that there's a very high percentage of these people we call great men who are burning in hell for eternity. I don't know that it's so easy to become a great man without, Oh, speaking of, you know what that reminds me? You guys, I'm putting Thomas Edison in hell. Why? Because he shocked to death an elephant on a pier. Like, he didn't have the moral compass to go, man, this is kind of gross and uncool. So he's in hell. Thomas Edison's in hell. Guys, remember yesterday I was telling you about the fall of the House of Usher, and I tried to tell you about how, he did this. There was this scene with Bruce Greenwood as the patriarch of the Usher pharmaceutical fortune family. And he gives this speech about how there's a difference between guys like him, gods, billionaires, people who are winners, who take it and win. And then there's everybody else, the rest of us who don't do, we don't do quite as well in life. And the analogy that he used was with the old metaphor of life gives you, when life hands you lemons, what do you do? When life hands you lemons, they hand you lemonade, right? Isn't that the thing? Okay, so I found it. I actually found it, and I played it last night. Now, I played it last night on Radio Misfits. But, man, this is, when I say great men, when I just made the statement that I think most great men, most of the people that we popularly refer to as great men are just really dudes who got away with a whole lot of shit, capitalized on it, and probably weren't nice men, probably weren't good men, probably weren't the kind of people that our understanding of Jesus would want to hang out with, So that's sort of that. Anyway, here, let me play this for you. I was going to do this at the end of the show, but why not? Since I got into my little great man rant. So this is from the Netflix show Fall of the House of Usher, and here's all you need to know about this. The man speaking is a multi-billionaire. He's one of the most powerful pharmaceutical giants in the world. And he's speaking with a lawyer who has been trying to put him in jail for years and years. And the subject of when life gives you lemons, what do you do comes up. And this is him, a great man. I am a great man. This is a great man explaining the difference between him and us. What we do when life hands us lemons.
Life hands you lemons.
Make lemonade.
No.
You don't make lemonade when life hands you lemons. You do this.
First, you roll out a multimedia campaign to convince people lemons are incredibly scarce, which only works if you stockpile lemons, control the supply, then a media blitz. Lemons are the only way to say I love you, the must-have accessory for engagements or anniversaries. Roses are out, lemons are in, billboards that say she won't have sex with you unless you've got lemons. You cut De Beers in on it, limited edition lemon bracelets, yellow diamonds called lemon drops. You get Apple to call their new operating system OS Lemon. Little accent over the O. You charge 40% more for organic lemons, 50% more for conflict-free lemons. You pack the capital with lemon lobbyists. You get a Kardashian to suck a lemon wedge in a leaked sex tape. Timothy Chalamet wears lemon shoes at Cannes. Get a hashtag campaign. Something isn't cool or tight or awesome. No, it's lemon. Did you see that movie? Did you go to that concert? It was effing lemon. Billie Eilish, OMG, hashtag lemon. You get Dr. Oz to recommend 4 lemons a day and a lemon suppository supplement to get rid of toxins, because there's nothing scarier than toxins. Then you patent the seeds. You write a line of genetic code that makes lemons look just a little more like tits, and you get a gene patent for the tit lemon DNA sequence. You cross-pollinate. You get those seeds circulating in the wild, and then you sue the farmers for copyright infringement when that genetic code shows up on their land. Sit back, rake in the millions, and then, when you're done, and you've sold your lempire for a few $1 billion, then, and only then, you make some fucking lemonade.
And that's how it's done. Man, when life hands you lemons, no, you don't make lemonade. That's from The Fall of the House of Usher. It's pretty good. It's on Netflix. It's really good. That's Bruce Greenwood. All right, it doesn't change anything. The great man Thomas Edison is going to hell. Dead on this day in 1931. Dead on this day in 1982. 1982? Really? I guess that tracks. She seems like a historical figure that would have died in like 1882, but it doesn't, but no, because she was first lady in the 1940s. Bess Truman, ladies and gentlemen, she's going to heaven. We're gonna put old Bess Truman in heaven. She's one of the most fond. She was a popular first lady. They loved her. She was good. Bess Truman, she's in heaven. I don't know anything else about her. How about this guy? Dead on this day in 2003, governor of Texas, Preston Smith, going to hell. Why? Because we've got a rule around these parts that all politicians go to hell. Oh, but Bess Truman was a politician. She's a first lady. She was married to a dude that was a politician. Shut up. Dead on this day in 2012. We could have a debate on this one. She died in 2012. I remember when she died I remember hearing that she died in 2012 because she wasn't a big star. Certainly not in 2012. But when she died, I remember I came across and I saw it, and I was like, oh. I mean, it like kind of hit me. It was kind of like, oh. Ladies and gentlemen, dead on this day in 2012, softcore porn actress from the 80s, Sylvia Kristel. Ladies and gentlemen, Sylvia Kristel, I'm putting her in heaven. Do you know how many young boys with early access to premium cable enjoyed the Emmanuelle series back in the 1980s? Lady Chatterley's Lover. Whatever it was, if it was a movie that wasn't exactly porn, was made by rich guys in like Spain, but had all English, but was all English, that was a Sylvia Kristel movie. Those movies, my tutor, didn't she do? She broke through. She had become so well known because of Skinamax movies in the early 80s or Showtime After Dark or whatever that was. People had first started getting cable. And these B movie actresses, the Sybil Dannings, if you will, the Shannon Tweeds, these actresses who were actually making movies but were drive-in movies and movies that only very few people saw, they were suddenly getting recognized. Because all of these dumb movies were on at 1 o'clock in the morning on HBO or whatever, and we started watching them. Sylvia Kristel became enough of a recognizable star that she actually made a crossover into regular Hollywood, and there was a real Hollywood release called, I think it was My Tutor. It was about a rich kid whose dad thought he was a dork, and so his dad hired Sylvia Kristel to come and be his tutor. And she wasn't playing Sylvia Kristel. She was playing a tutor, a French tutor. But she's, of course, hot. And, you know where that went. 80s sexploitation. Now, you might be saying, but Pugs, when you talk about how you make your determinations on who goes to heaven and hell, you use the popularly agreed upon criteria for entry into heaven and hell, at least the agreed upon Judeo-Christian version of what it takes to get into heaven or hell. And you're saying to me, you're going, Pugs, Sylvia Kristel's a whore. She can't go to heaven. And I say to you, Jesus loved whores, and Sylvia Kristel gave people pleasure, and she was nice. I don't know if she was nice. She might have been terrible. But my point is this. She's going to heaven. Sylvia Kristel's going to heaven. Dead on this day in 2012. Dead on this day in 2013, Bum Phillips. Bummerooski. We're going to run a bum ride. We're going to run a bum bobo. We're going to do a Bummerooski. Bum Phillips. Houston Oilers head coach. Bum was funny. Mic'd up Bum Phillips is probably the most entertaining. No, Schramm. Hank Schramm was pretty entertaining too. You ever watch those old NFL films? Where you see some of the guys from back in the, like, before we remember football, guys we never saw coach. The Lombardis, Stram down there in Kansas, up there in Kansas City, people like that. Bum Phillips was one that was always very entertaining on those because all of his plays had some variation of his name in it. So it was like, so he'd be on the sideline calling the play and be like, we're going to do a bumski bum right with a bummer and a bummerooski left. You know, he's just 25 bumski on the boom bum, the bum bum. You know, he was like, he was funny. There's one of Vince Lombardi, and there's not a whole lot of Lombardi stuff, but the one of Vince Lombardi, this is the only thing that I know of Vince Lombardi, because I mean, I've seen his speeches and all of that kind of stuff, but Vince Lombardi being Vince Lombardi, like just being a guy talking to another guy. This is the only time I've ever seen it. And it was when he was on the sideline of a game, and there's a penalty called, and Lombardi starts screaming. He's mic'd up, and there's a camera. It's very early, so it's probably a year or two before he died of cancer. But it's very early in the age of when cameras were there, and he's on camera and he's screaming at the referee. And he's going, what is the matter with you? Are you blind? That is completely not a penalty. And he's screaming like at the top of his lungs, as angry as he. And the minute he stops screaming, he turns to his assistant coach. He laughs and he goes, I didn't even see that play. And I thought, oh, Lombardi's funny. All right, that's cool. Well, Bum Phillips was also funny. Bum Phillips, born on this day, he's going to heaven. I like Bum Phillips. Although, probably a good rule of thumb would be, similar to the politicians. Probably not a football coach in heaven. Probably not a whole lot of football coaches in heaven. I know a lot of football coaches. They are some of the most corrupt. They are some of the most skeevinest. And yet they hold these positions in their community. There ain't no Coach Taylors out there. I've never met a Coach Taylor. I've never met a Coach Taylor. Not as at that. I should shut up. I should shut up because I have friends who are coaches, and now I'm thinking, well, he's a good guy, but I do know that he's done some things. Anyway, Bum Phillips, we're putting him in hell after further consideration. Sorry, that's right. Football coaches and politicians go directly to hell. Dead on this day in 2021, Colin Powell. Colin Powell died on this day. Ugh. This is a tough one because I liked Colin Powell a lot. But like I just said, politicians can't. But Colin Powell's not a politician. Colin Powell was a military man and a diplomat. Colin Powell never had to run for an election. Colin Powell never had to pander to voters. Colin Powell never had to get up and make a speech saying, vote for me, because, there were always rumors that he was going to run for something. He never wanted that. Colin Powell was a military man and a diplomat. So he does not fall into the automatic, you're going to hell that most politicians do. He has earned the right for further consideration. And upon further consideration, you freaking lied about Iraq, dude. It doesn't matter how honorable you were throughout your career and all of the things you accomplished. You bent the knee, sir. You did what you can't do it. Have all of these people die and then 20 years later write a book where you go, yeah, I didn't really believe it. Sir, Colin Powell. There you go. Dead on this day in 2021. All right. That's going to do it. Those are the first 3 quarters of the show. That means that now, here in the second hour, we are getting ready to jump headfirst into all the day's news. Everything that is happening in the world today, whether it's a headline. What's going on? Hold on. We got something going on. We got breaking news.
Just down the National Mall, they put the blame really squarely at the foot of Israel and the IDF. And now, again, we are watching as Capitol Police are arresting people one by one who are seated in this area, who are being told they need to leave.
Okay, they
are willing in this case.
All right, there's an organization that has taken to a sit-in the public rotunda area of the Capitol building, where you come in for a tour. So it looks like they probably came in like anybody else comes into the Capitol, and then they all sat down, and now they are all donning, and there are hundreds of them, and they are all donning black T-shirts with white letters that say, not in our name. Some of them are wearing not in our name. And then the other ones on the lower level are wearing shirts that say Jews say ceasefire. So this is a Jewish group. This is an American Jewish group. Pretty significant numbers. A Jewish group of American citizens who are protesting in the Capitol for a ceasefire. Okay, you've made I get it. You're humanitarians. The idea of just not doing anything is one that I'm sure they're considering. I don't think it's going to win the debate, but it's, it's one that they're considering. Hold on, I'm watching this. I'm trying to see what we're looking at here. Hold on.
And the crowd gathered very quickly, and then a couple minutes later, we saw at first a dozen. Now it looks like a few dozen police officers, and we're being told to move a little bit here, Brianna. But police really gathered quickly.
Well, it's a good thing there's nothing important going on at the Capitol today, huh? It's a good thing. Good thing we're not voting on a highly contentious next Speaker of the House, huh? All right, so yeah, so the American Jewish group has basically taken the rotunda of the Capitol. They're sitting there, they are chanting. This is, of course, all about the Gaza campaign, the bombing campaign being undertaken right now by Israel in response to the attacks of almost 2 weeks ago now by Hamas on Israeli settlers and just, Israeli Jews throughout Israel. There were attacks all over. This is becoming a thing. And guess what? It just so happens it is our top story. It is the big thing that everybody's talking about. So let me give you a quick rundown on all of these issues, shall we? President Biden is in Israel. This whole trip, man, is poorly advised. I think he's trying to do something. I think that he's desperate. I do. I think that Biden is looking to do something to stand up without being political. When you look at what supporters of Biden say, they list a whole bunch of not so very sexy accomplishments, significant accomplishments, but not sexy, like the boring things, like the stuff that nobody pays attention to. So this feels like a desperate Biden whose poll numbers are not great. This seems like a desperate Biden in a situation where the world is watching, trying to make himself look like a true and indisputable statesman on the world stage. And he's going to this war zone. Okay. Here's why it's ill-advised. First of all, he's like 110 years old, which I'm not an ageist, but he's old, man. He seems frail and fragile. He really does. And I know Trump is just a couple of years younger than him, but and Trump's a lunatic. He's a crazy person. His brain is scrambled, but physically, Trump seems to be a little bit more, not even in shape, but just a little bit more vibrant than Biden. So there's a thing. So he's trying to go to this war zone. There's probably going to be pictures of him walking around outside with a helmet on. Just God forbid he look like a dork in a helmet, because if he looks like a dork in a helmet, it's going to be, remember Bush with the flight suit after Mission Accomplished? That's all performative. So I don't like the idea of Biden going here, because this is obvious to me. This is a political play. This is for numbers. This is about perception of who Biden is as a guy. Oh, he's a fragile, broken old man. Oh yeah, he went to a war zone and wore a helmet. I mean, that's what's going on here. Here's why this is so infuriating to me. We got a vice president who I honestly haven't seen in 6 months. I have no idea. What is Kamala Harris still alive? Does she do anything? And we don't have a speaker. Okay? We're sending the president of the United States into a war zone the day after an incident, the hospital bombing. We'll get to that in a minute. We're sending the president of the United States into a war zone the day after a hospital bombing that hypercharged the whole region. When he said, I'm going, it wasn't hypercharged. It was bad, but you could manage it. He was going to meet with he was going to go to Jordan, and he was going to meet with Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority. He was going to meet with King Hussein in Jordan. He was going to do it all. He was going to go to Egypt. He was going to glad hand with them. He's going to go to Yemen. I mean, there was talk that he was going to, get some shit done. And that was the plan. He'll be great. We'll show him all over these places. And then the hospital blows up yesterday. And then the Arab world goes absolutely fucking nuts, or knucking futs. We'll get to that as well. So now we're sending a president into a war zone. The dude is 105. His next breath might cause his lung to burst like a 5-year-old balloon. We're sending him into a war zone. We got an MIA vice president, and I'm not a Kamala Harris hater. I'm just saying I don't know where she is. I haven't seen her. I don't know what she's all about. They've really kept her in mothballs. And we don't have a third in command. We don't have a third in command. So what happens? Let's just say, let's just say something happens to Biden. Well, then Kamala becomes president. Then what do we got? Then we got nothing. Then Kamala, and then what happens? Let's just say Kamala has a brain aneurysm because no one is guaranteed their next breath. We don't have a speaker. We have no apparatus to put somebody else in charge, at least not one. We've got something in theory on paper, but it's never actually been done before. And in this climate, do you think that's not going to take 4 fucking years? You think they're going to do that in a weekend? Or do you think the United States of America is going to run presidentless until the election? Because that's what it'll be. We shouldn't appoint anyone until there's another election. The voters need to vote. Oh, shut your ass up. The Biden administration won. They got 4 years. There's a procedure. It's going to be nuts. The most absurd, anti-constitutional arguments from people who are professors, who should know what they're going to say shit. And that's going to suddenly become something that idiots start quoting at bars. And it's like, yeah, that's not even legal. But a professor said it. Yeah, a professor who's being paid a huge amount of money by a company to be a spokesperson. That's how this works. They get people with credibility and then pay them. How much you make in tenure? A man like you should be making at least $500,000 a year. Why don't we bring you on our board as an advisor? And then from time to time, when there's an interest that we need a little bit of help on or clarity for the American public, we're going to book you on Hannity. And you're going to be the law professor who goes on Hannity and makes all the rubes go, but a law professor said it. Yeah, a law professor who cashes checks. Come on, people. This is how, and this isn't just me. I used Hannity as an example. It's because I just recently saw an example of this on Hannity. They all do it. There are no truly good people in any kind of mainstream media. And I used to be a defender of mainstream media because I worked in mainstream media for 30 years. 20 years, at least. So I used to defend it because I personally had never experienced anything like that. But then, I'm not dumb. Times have changed. I still have people in the business. I talk to them. We go out. I hear stories. I know how this is going. The mainstream media is completely fucked and everything is a shell game. Everything. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean go watch people on YouTube because those fucking people are idiots too. It means we're set adrift. It means the common sense is dead and that we've got nobody guiding us. We have no North Star. We're just all out here. Now we got a president tripping around the Middle East. Nobody's meeting with him, too. That's the other thing. So all of these things he was going to do. He's going to meet. He's going to go to Jordan. He's going to meet with Hussein. He's going to have a meeting with a boss. All of these things were going to be great. And then as soon as the hospital explodes, as soon as that happens, all of a sudden, all of these leaders, they snub Biden. They snub the president of the United States. Why? Because the president of the United States is seen as a Zionist enabler or whatever. And the Arab people are losing their shit. This is not, don't get confused. This is not King Hussein of Jordan going, I am personally upset at the president of the United States and I will not be meeting with him. That is not what that is. President of Jordan would fall on his knees and suck the president of the United States D if it meant a little one-on-one time. President of the United States doesn't just willy-nilly meet with these people. It's a big fucking deal. But all of these guys are being forced to now say no because the people in their streets are going nuts. And King Hussein in Jordan doesn't want to be Gaddafi. He's looking at the people who are now so angry at Israel. I mean, this is really a powder. I said it from the beginning. I said, look, this is not good. The humanitarian crisis is going to cause people to lose their will. The war is hell. I hate war. Never vote for war. But this was an attack. And I can completely understand why Israel is like, yep, game on. I said day one, I said, this is going to be a humanitarian nightmare. And now we're seeing this humanitarian nightmare. And now we've had an incident with a hospital in Gaza. 200-300 people dead. Who knows? Got this incident with this hospital. And what it has done is it has allowed the rest of the Arab world who had been sitting on the sidelines, the rest of the Muslim world, when I say sitting on the sidelines, I don't mean that they weren't offering their opinions on this whole thing, but they weren't really agitated and ramped up. They are agitated and ramped up now. There were massive demonstrations from livid Muslim citizens in every major Muslim country in the world last night. And do you think that's just going to stop today? Do you think they're just going to go home? Or how does this play out? You sit there on your couch. I sit there in my room, right? I'm watching it on TV and I think, wow, it's a good thing that I'm not in Riyadh, or wherever. It's a good thing that I'm not in Tehran right now. Yeah, you are. You're lucky right now because parking would be a bitch and there'd probably be nowhere to go to the bathroom. But you know how this manifests against us? When we're shot dead at the mall in 3 months because old Abdul's cousin, who was in the square in Tehran, who lives now in Garland or wherever, he gets... Seriously, this is bad for us. The Arab world is ignited. And we sent our president with no third in command and an MIA vice president. I don't know what's going on. They should have canceled the trip. As soon as the hospital went up, look, if this was a president who thought he was going to win re-election, no problem. If this was a president who didn't think that there was a reason for him to need to look like a strong world leader, he'd be home right now, but he's not. I'm looking at him on TV. He's currently in Tel Aviv, Israel. Jesus. Anyway. All right, so now let's talk about the hospital. That's the other thing that's trending. The Baptist hospital there in Gaza. Weird, right? Baptist hospital? That's weird. Really? They allowed a Baptist... Anyway, whatever. That was the name of the hospital. Is that like the Baptist religion? I think it is. Because last night on CNN, they were talking to some Baptist minister who apparently some Baptist church, built this hospital. Whatever, good for them. Well, hey, it's needed. It's needed. You know why? Because Hamas wasn't building hospitals for the people that voted for Hamas in Gaza. So I guess that's good. So anyway, so this hospital got hit with something. Something fell out of the sky and everybody dead. That's what happened. A lot of video out there. You go, yeah, let's watch some of the video. We can watch the video. And after watching the video, I'd be interested to hear all of your well-educated and we don't know what we're looking at. I am seeing people. Are you seeing these people? These people are like, all right, this is obviously shot from southern Gaza. This is a Hamas rocket. I can tell because look at the flashpoint. You get these people and I'm like, dude, you own an aquarium store. What? When did you become like a munitions and all right, so yeah, let's look at this. I don't know what I'm looking at. It's fascinating footage. It certainly is, right? I mean, we live in this era where none of these things are ever going to go anonymously again, right? All right, so here, this is we'll show this. All right, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to tell you what people are saying, and then I'm going to show you, and I don't know what I'm looking at, and you don't either. That's the whole point. Okay, so Israel is saying that the hospital blowed up because Hamas rockets were fired from that area early on in one of the Hamas rockets because they're piece of shit Hamas rockets. I mean, come on, we saw these. They attacked on bicycle-powered hang gliders. This is not the height of technology. So there's some bullshit rockets. Israel's going, they got some bullshit rockets, and one of their bullshit rockets exploded in mid-flight and fell on the hospital and blew it up. That's what Israel's saying. And Israel says they got all kinds of proof. Hamas is saying, nope, that was an Israeli rocket. Why would we blow up our own? So the question is like, okay, so there's a couple questions here. Who's bombing the fuck out of Gaza? Okay, answer, Israel. That is a fact. We know it. I've been watching it for nights on TV with live cams. Israel's bombing the fuck out of Gaza. We know this. We also know that Gaza is shooting shit out of, or we also know Hamas is shooting shit out of Gaza with their rockets. We know they got rockets. And so the question becomes, do we believe the Israeli narrative about Hamas rockets being pieces of shit? And I'm like, yeah, probably. Yeah, I bet they're probably cobbled together. I would have less faith in a Hamas-fired rocket reaching its destination successfully than I would on an Israeli, because I'm guessing Israelis got fucking satellites and shit. I mean, so I don't know what I'm looking at. So here, this is supposedly, and by the way, I have seen this explained as two different things. We can both watch it. So one story of what we're watching is we are watching an Israeli missile. Here's what it looks like to me. This looks like Hamas fired rockets and it fell on a hospital. Let's just watch it. Okay. All right. So you see them, they're going up, they're disappearing into the sky. I mean, they're not exploding just because the light goes out there. See how they disappear in the clouds and then they reemerge. So they're going up there. Those are Hamas rockets. And you see that? Did you just see that? All right. Here, one more time. All right, now notice the trajectory of these rockets. So these rockets are going up here. They should, follow this kind of a flight path, right? Like right out, like right here, right? So it certainly shouldn't cause it. They're not firing from here and then going bonk. It's not like fire, launch, up, and then straight down, because that's where the explosion happens. The explosion happens right here. So it does, if these are Hamas rockets, and by the way, this explosion is the hospital. So if these are Hamas rockets, and this is like open and close. Do I think if Israeli missiles accidentally blew up a hospital, do I think Israel would admit their mistake? No, I don't. And that complicates this whole thing. Not only do I not think that they would admit their mistake, hey, we're sorry, the missile went off, but this is war. They won't do that. The other question is, okay, if they won't do that, do you believe that Israel would make up a complete lie? And I'm like, yes, of course. Israel, the Israeli government, the Israeli military, they operate at the height of global espionage and all, duplicity and all. Yes, of course, Israel would lie. Do I think they're lying? I don't know, man. Let's watch again. You see, they're going up and they're going to watch the explosion right here. It's like it falls right out of the sky. Boom, there it is. That's the hospital. I mean, it seems pretty irrefutable that there were missiles being fired right here at the time of said explosion. And it seems like, do we see anything incoming? No, of course we don't, because people with better eyes than me would, boom, there we go. People with better eyes than me would have pointed that out before. So, again, Hamas in the entire Arab world, which is all ginned up but good right now. Hamas in the entire Arab world. They're going with the story that was an Israeli missile and that it was done intentionally and that this is the kind of barbarism and all that the Israelis are into. Oh, it's going to get barbaric. The Israelis can get barbaric. But another question for me would be, are the Israelis natively barbaric? No, I don't think they are. Now pose the question to me, is Hamas natively barbaric? The answer is, oh yeah, they are. Hamas, absolutely. It's right there in their charter. The destruction and the end of the Jewish people in Israel. Yeah, they are. So, do I think that the Israelis would the Israelis target a hospital just because they want to fuck with people's heads and, really enact horror? No, I don't think they would. I think they can do whatever they want. Now, could this be a hospital? Does Hamas hide weapons in hospital? Right. See, do you see how complicated this was? It might be targeted because Hamas might actually hide guns and rocket batteries or anti-missile batteries at hospitals. So that might have been targeted. Would they ever admit it? No, they never would. Have they ever? Nope. I mean, nobody's ever admitted these things. It's always, but it has changed the trajectory of the war. Now, the other thing that everybody's been waiting now for well over a week, is the so-called ground invasion. It was a week ago today that Israel first made the announcement to the people of Gaza that they had to evacuate the northern part of the city, territory, strip. There you go. So it was a week ago. And they said 24 hours. So since Thursday of last week, we've all been waiting to see this ground incursion. Not going to happen today. President of the United States in the region. They're not going in. Trust me. Nothing. That's the one good thing about the President of the United States being in the region. At least from the Israeli side, there's not going to be any major, shit go down. I can't speak for the other side, though, because this seems like an opportunity for the other side to scramble to actually put some big shit together. So we'll see. It's a mess. Protests, schmotests. That's right. We're not the only. We got protests around the world here. Let's watch this. This is what I'm talking about. This is the scary shit. Because these people, again, these people have cousins. Oh, now look, slow your roll, tap your brakes. I'm not saying that just because you don't know these people's cousins. That's the thing. They're out there. We don't know who they are. It doesn't mean that everybody that you see that looks like they come from that general part of the world is the fucking enemy. So just don't be stupid, okay? It's nuance. But the reality is that there are people from that part of the world who have made their way into this country. And, you know, they may be among us and they may be normal in every other way. I mean, my God. Tamerlan Tsarnaev was popular, beating girls off with a stick. His brother was much loved in the community, a mixed community, people of all different ethnic. They're here. These people are here. And, you know, this is the kind of incident that triggers these people. It's a very scary time. You know, I yell a lot about people ginning people up. I'm not ginning people up with this. This is real. And I hope, real to me. This is real feelings to me. This is really how I feel. Oh, Jesus. CNN, again with the dead babies. Stop it. Stop it. God. All right, so here's what we're looking at. These are a number of demonstrations that took place last night. They're also happening again today all around the world. This first one, this one is Palestine Square in Iran. All right, let's see what that. All right, so that's Iran. I don't know what they're chanting. I have no idea what they're chanting. All right, this is in Jordan. There we go. Okay. All right, there's Amman, Jordan. What else do we have here? This is the Israeli embassy in Ankara, Turkey. The Turks. Just so you know, you guys, these are massive fucking crowds. These are big crowds of really angry Muslim people who just want to see Israelis suffer. And by proxy, us, Americans, because we are the great enabler of the Zionist monster. All right, so here, what else do we have? This is from central Baghdad. All this happening last night. What else do we have? Oh, you think we're done? Nah. How about the French embassy in Tunis? All right, Tunisia is accounted for. How about in Beirut? All right, people marching. Well, Beirut, Lebanon, just to the north there of the Gaza Strip. So I think what we're seeing here are the faces of a number of people who will probably engaged in a full-out war in the next month. These are all young, angry men. Hezbollah is licking their chops. Directionless, no hope, no dreams. What else do they have other than try and guarantee their virgins and, trip beside Allah or whatever the hell it is? I don't know. Religion is stupid. Not just Islam, all of them. Here, giant crowds demonstrate outside the Israeli consulate. This is in Istanbul. So we saw earlier Ankara, Turkey. So now this is Istanbul, Turkey. Turks are a very powerful nation. Don't be sleeping on the Turks. I'm always shocked when I see these places because I am the ugly American. I'm always shocked when I see these places and they have like downtown areas that looks like, they might be a Starbucks, maybe an Au Bon Pain, something like that. Because because of the way we're programmed, we imagine they all live in mud hut. No, they don't. No, they really don't. Some do, very, very small. That'd be like them over there thinking we all live like Appalachia. It's way more modern and westernized than I think we think. Saudi Arabia is freaking awesome. I mean, not if you're a chick or a gay dude, but it's awesome. I don't know if it's awesome. I just know it looks cool. They got nice malls there. Let's see here, not to be left out. Yemenis. Okay, so this is happening in Yemen. So we've looked at. Oh no, sorry, I'm not sharing that one. Here we go. We're looking at. All right. Arab protests around the world. Last time they did this, be a moment in time historically remembered as the Arab Spring. And the whole reason, as I said when we began this incident, that the king of Jordan, Hussein the second or third, not sure, king of Jordan, leader of the Mahmoud Abbas, leader of the Palestinian Authority, the leaders of Egypt. I'm not sure that. I think he was meeting. They all said no. They all pulled out. Don't want to meet him anymore, because the last time these guys, Abbas, King Hussein, the last time they saw crowds like this in their streets, they lost some of their buddies. They lost their buddy in Egypt. They lost their buddy in Libya. They lost their buddy in Tunisia. They lost a lot of monarch heads rolled the last time there were this many upset Arabs in the streets. So yeah, so they canceled the trips with Biden. They can't be seen as, anything other than death to Israel. And that's what the narrative is now. And that's a real problem. That's a real problem that we didn't have as front and center a week ago. I mean, it was always there, right? I mean, we know that these terror groups, they have in their charter that death to Israel and all that, and we've seen people chanting it all the time. But it wasn't that. There weren't hundreds of thousands of Arabs across the Middle East taking to the streets of their nation's capitals to scream death to Israel all at once. That is an acceleration of the situation. That is a problem. Protests. All right, now we got a speaker mess. All right, let's talk about the Speaker of the House. Again, the House of Rep, the Capitol right now is under siege by a bunch of protesters from an American Jewish group who are calling for America to demand a ceasefire. See, again, I mean, I guess, right, America could probably end it. I mean, could we? I don't know. First of all, do we have a right to? And we're not doing it, first of all. But what we're talking about, and what they're asking the United States government by disrupting the Capitol, they're asking us to use our influence to get Israel to stop bombing Gaza. And I understand that. And I think that is I think that's a kind and a very humane sort of way to look at the world. But let's pretend like I'm Johnny America. Okay. And my buddy is Tommy Israel. And Tommy Israel just had that shit happen. Some people kicked in, they climbed over his backyard fence in the middle of his niece's birthday party, and they ruined the party. And now my buddy Tommy Israel, he wants to go walk next door and beat the fuck out of that guy. Now, what do I do as his friend, Johnny America? I walk over with him. I'll stand there. Make sure it doesn't get too far out of hand. That's what they're asking. That's all we have. We have American influence. We can't tell Israel not to punch them in the face. What happened to Israel, if we are in fact friends with Israel, not only friends, blood brothers, if you believe the rhetoric from both political parties, that is in fact the case, we have no right to tell them to tone it down. We have no right. We did a 20-year war in Afghanistan and then basically, turned Iraq into an ashtray because of what happened to us in 2011. Nobody could have stopped us. Nobody wouldn't have let anybody stop us. So remember that. What if all right, let me just randomly, Barney, there you go. Barney just said something in the chat room. What randomly, Barney, it's early 2002. We're getting ready to go into Afghanistan. You're Barney America. You're in charge of everything. We've just gone through September 11th. And our buddy Philippe France comes and goes, "Hey, Barney, I know you just went through September 11th, but maybe you should tone it down." Nobody would have been able to talk us off that. We were bloodthirsty. We were angry. We wanted vengeance. That's a very real human emotion. It's not a particularly noble one, but it is one. And it is one that we have to fight to overcome or go with. And war is a good time to go with those kinds of things. So, I mean, look, I admire the people there that are protesting in the Capitol. I think that's great. That's what this country's all about. But man, if I'm Johnny America and I'm dealing with my friend Tommy Israel, I don't think I'm going to use my influence to calm Tommy down. I think I'm going to make sure that Tommy gets what Tommy wants, which is someone to pay for the fact that they ruined his niece's birthday party. It's very, I don't know if I'm even comfortable with that. I'm trying to dumb it down. I'm trying to make it conversational, and it's a very complicated thing. But we got a speaker mess going on. So that's what's happening right now in the Capitol. There is a big protest going on. There was supposed to be is there supposed to be another vote? I don't even know. Let me see what's going on here. I know Jim Jordan on the second vote. They're trying to shove Jim Jordan down everybody's throat. And like, Jim Jordan ain't going to win. Nobody likes Jim Jordan. It's like, nope. So he lost. Of course he lost the first vote. It's so funny. This is so make it till you fake it, dude. This is, these guys, any of these hustlers guys, the hustler code, you got to fake it till you make it. That's what Jim Jordan is doing. He forced a House vote yesterday. Yet he knew he didn't have the votes. He knew he was going to lose. Everybody knew he was going to lose on the first vote, and yet he forced it. It's like, yeah, fuck you, force the vote, do it. And they did it, and he lost. And it's like, you're a fool. You have no shame. And that was weird. And then he did it again today. He's like, yeah, fuck it, vote. And we're like, dude, don't vote. This looks bad for you. It's just going to get worse for you. And he's like, no, we're going to win it this time. Let's go, vote. Because he's kind of nuts, Jim Jordan. And he lost votes. He lost votes from the first one. It's going in the wrong direction for Jim Jordan. He's done. They need to pull him out. They need to find somebody else. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I just hate him. I hate him so much. He looks like a guy my mom dated. He just reminds me of a guy my mom dated whom I hate. He raised his hand to my mom. You don't go back from that. You never go back from that. I'd kill him in his sleep if he was still alive, but he ain't. That's why I got this problem with Jim Jordan. I can't separate that. He just can't. Douchebag. I know the type of dude he is. Hardline Republican Jim Jordan loses second attempt at the speakership. Outspoken conservative Jim Jordan. Who cares? The House is due to hold another vote. Republicans who control. No, who cares? All right. I don't think they're doing any more votes because remember, there's like hundreds of angry Jewish people in the Capitol lobby right now demanding that we stop Israel from kicking Hamas's ass. And guys, I think those of you and I know that a lot of us here in the chat room, I know that we're all the same. We've been here together now for a couple of years, so I would hope that you would have a fairly decent understanding of who I am as a person and the way I feel. I'm not a bloodthirsty war hawk. I'm not. I mean, consistently, Kelly and I took a stand back in 2002 when we first came here to Dallas. We'd started to do well, and the ramp up to the war in Iraq was starting. And the United States Army, who, God love them, and no problem with the United States Army. Thank you. We need the Army. Appreciate what the Army does. But the Army wanted Kelly and I to do live read commercials for recruitment. And man, they were going to pay too. Like, the typical fee for, hey, it's Pugs for HMS, or hey, it's Pug is $100 a read, right? So you get $100 a read. That's pretty good. That's pretty good because you can do 5 of them in a day. And that's just extra money, right? So that's, 3,000. I mean, it's good. It's good. It adds up. The United States Army was going to pay us $250 a read, right? Your tax dollars. That's what it is. Your tax dollars. So double what the normal rate is, plus 50. And we said no, we wouldn't do it. And I'm very proud of that because I did not believe in the war in Iraq. Never have, still don't. History has proven that I was right, that was bullshit, that was just empire building, and it went the wrong way. It went down the toilet and everybody paid for it, and it's a huge mistake. And, there's plenty of history books written about that now. But yeah, the Army, they wanted Kelly and I to do live reads, and we said no. There was actually only 2 times that we said that we would not do live reads for things, and it was both 2 things that we didn't necessarily believe what we were saying. One was a thing called Body Solutions. But do you guys remember Body Solutions? It was some awful diet thing that you drink it and then you just eat 10 pizzas like normal and you lose weight. It was a miracle. And there was a way to make money off of that. It's a con, it's a scam. And because you can just go on the air and you say it's a miracle new thing. And then you buy radio time on radio stations across the country. You make all kinds of money in mail orders. Oh my God, you become a thing. And then 7 years later, when the federal government finally gets around to going, hey, we should do something about this, you've already made all your money and you're out. So that's what Body Solutions was. And we knew that's what it was. And Kelly and I didn't want to be like, yeah, you should do body, because we're like, no. If you were going to talk about Body Solutions, we're going to talk about what a crock it is. But Body Solutions paid so much money. They paid so much money to this station. So you know what our compromise was? Our compromise was, you can do a Body Solutions commercial during our show if you want. But Kelly and I are not going to be involved in it. And don't address us. Don't do anything. So they ended up having to get the sales guy. The actual account executive would have to come down. Wayne Walker. Love Wayne Walker. What a great guy. Wayne Walker would have to come and he's just a sales guy. He's not a broadcaster. Just the sales guy would have to come into our show every day at this time and be like, Wayne, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I just wanted to tell you about this diet. I'm on Body Solutions. And I'd be like, yeah, you're on a diet? I didn't know you were on a diet. You'd be like, that's the miracle about Body Solutions. You don't even know you're on a diet. And then Kelly goes, no, I mean, it doesn't look like you're losing weight. Body Solutions. But the Army was the other one. Didn't want to endorse the Army during the ramp up to the war in Iraq because they wanted us to get you guys, our listeners, to go and sign up. And they wanted us. Look, signing up and joining the United States military is not something you should be convinced of because the DJ said it would be cool. That's a soul searching kind of thing. That's not. So, Kelly is so direct. Yeah, she is. She was the best. She didn't give a shit. She's dead now. How sad is that? I know she's not. Why did I just made it sound like she was dead? I don't know why that was a thing. All right, let's move on. I'm sorry. We're getting into a rut here. The speaker mess. It's a mess. It's going to remain a mess. Okay, here, the spokesman, Jordan, to keep going despite second loss growing large. All right, Jim Jordan. He's going to keep going. Didn't it take McCarthy like 19 times? So Jordan, oh God, this is so dumb. Okay, so if he's going to keep pushing this, he's going to. Oh my God, how far is he willing to go? Because there are enough normal Republicans in Biden districts to at some point go, enough of this. I'm voting for Jeffries, and they're going to have the leader of the minority party as the Speaker of the House. That's where this is going. Unless you believe those people will go the other way. At some point, they'll just go, I'll just vote for Jordan. I don't think they will. Republicans in Biden districts, that's a real thing. That's what you got to be afraid of. But we still don't have a speaker. We don't have a speaker. We've got a president who's out wandering around in a minefield. He's just like, hey, which way do I go? Do I go this way? Boom! And then he's gone. There's a little hat. There's a little army military hat. Born to die written on it, just. Twitter is making some big news. Elon Musk has announced that Twitter's going to make you pay now. That's right. You want to pay? You want to pay? You want to tweet? You want to tweet? Twitter's going to charge you $1. Twitter's going to charge you $1 to tweet. Not here, like in shithole countries, isn't that what we call them? New countries that where Twitter is expanding its use will now require just users, non-members, people who don't have the cool blue check, which isn't cool anymore. Never really was. The coolest celebrities in the country were the ones who refused the blue check. I'm telling you, man, I always thought this was the most admirable thing. The dude who could remember when blue checks meant something. The dude who could have had the blue check didn't want it because didn't want to be, set aside like that. Who's one of those people who had Mike Reiner? Every other hey, I do midnights on Kiss FM and I've got a blue check. Mike Reiner, a goddamn legend. Corby Davidson, another one. He's one of the biggest afternoon hosts. 20 years on the ticket, big old mansion. He's a blue check. Nope, didn't want a blue check. Danny Bayless, another one. Didn't want. That's so cool. Now that doesn't mean anything anymore because anybody can get a blue check. All they got to do is pay $8. But I'm sure there are some people who still like to pretend like it's back then and they see their blue check and it makes them feel good. Now, I also understand why there are certain brands that need to have the blue check. Like if I had a brand, if it was if this was the high noon rant, instead of when you follow me on Twitter, it's just Pugs Moran. But if it was the high noon rant, there would be a blue check because there are business reasons for that. There's business reasons, which is why you might say, "Oh, Pugs, what are you, a hypocrite? I see Radio Misfits. They got a blue." No, it's a brand. It's the same thing. That's different. That's not an individual looking for any personal glory because, I've got a blue check. Wait, let me chime in. I've got the blue check, so that means I'm the important one. Quiet, a blue check is speaking, right? That's not a thing anymore. Speaking of Twitter, I'm very mad at Twitter. Here's what he's doing. He's going to charge people $1 in these new countries to come on. He says it's to combat bots. And here's the other thing. The headline, Twitter to charge $1. Do you see how I always talk about the ginning up nonsense that the media does to us? Twitter to charge $1. Okay, now finish that sentence. Twitter to charge $1. No, Twitter to charge $1 to tweet, right? So that makes you think they're like, what? Every time I tweet, it's going to be $1? No, Twitter is charging $1 once a year in countries like Albania and Eastern Fuckistan, right? These new countries where they're getting new people. He's charging everyone in order to tweet $1. That's apparently a 1-year thing. People are like, this is the slow creep of him charging all of us per tweet. It's going to be like a penny a tweet or whatever it's going to be. You're going to have an account. No, it's not going to be that. He's doing this because these are the countries where all these crazy bot farms are. I mean, that's what he says. And you know me, I think Elon Musk sucks. I think he's a weirdo, right? So if I thought he was lying, if I didn't think that made sense, I'd be like, oh, he's lying. He's just trying. No, that seems like a reasonable explanation as to why in these countries he is going to be charging new Twitter users $1 a year. Okay, so it's not as bad as Elon Musk to charge Twitter users $1 to tweet. But that's what the media hooked us with. It's all ginned up. What? How dare he? And then you read it and you're like, oh, but I'm not new and I don't live in Albania. Media didn't care about that. They knew about that before they wrote that headline. They just wanted to suck you in. Duplicitous nature of the modern media. What else do we have here? Alec Baldwin, this guy. So Alec Baldwin's apparently going to be charged with manslaughter again. I don't know, they get a new prosecutor who's got eyes on a Senate seat or something. I don't know why they're redoing this, but okay, that's fine. Whatever. Let it play out. That's what court's for. Prosecutors investigating. Here's the thing with the Alec Baldwin thing. The Alec Baldwin thing. Alec Baldwin is obviously he's a D-bag. He's a narcissist. He's an elitist. He's one of these guys. He's very funny. He's very talented. Again, people are complicated. You got to be able to separate these things. But is he a murderer? And I've said this from the beginning. He didn't do this on purpose. You fucking dicks who are trying to put him in jail. This is a tragic accident. He didn't do this on purpose. Now, here's the problem. He says he never pulled the trigger. I don't know about that. He's an actor. He's probably lying. But again, he didn't wake up and go, I'm going to scheme a way to murder that pretty little assistant director. He didn't do that. So stop acting like he did. It's a fucking tragic accident. Could have happened to anybody. It's a terrible thing that happened. Is he a dickhead? Yeah. He's a dickhead. Does he deserve to go through some shit? Probably. He was born handsome and talented. So yeah, any sort of adversity that he needs to face later in life, I'm good with. But he ain't done nothing. He did this. He didn't murder. He didn't try to murder anybody. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because it's like, we know, unfortunately, shit rolls downhill. The person who will probably take the fall for this is the armorer, whose job it is to, I think at the very least, make sure it's not a real bullet. That seems like that's someone's job. We've identified whose job that is, and that person didn't do their job well. It's not up to an actor who maybe have never even held a gun before his stage training for this scene. He doesn't know anything about guns. Nah, he should clear the chamber, make sure that there's no... Shut the fuck up. These are actors. Have you ever been around theater people? They don't know anything about guns. Stop it. An actor trusts the person who knows about guns to hand the gun to them moments before pretend time starts. It's all supposed to be pretend time. Stop it, you disingenuous jerks. I'm all for him getting raked over the coals in court, though, right? I'm all like that's going to be fun, because handsome Alec Baldwin with all his money and his hot girlfriend that his wife, he married his wife like 10 years ago. They got 20 kids. He married like some hot young yoga instructor that was like 30 years younger than him, and she's really hot. She is. That Hilaria Baldwin or whatever, she's hot. She's crazy nuts too, but she's also hot. And he pumped out like 20 kids with her. He's like, what is he, like 80, 75, something like that? Alex 70? I don't know. How old is Alec Baldwin? Whatever. He seems like he's been around forever. He's got a bunch of little kids. He's going to go to court. All right, so here's what I'm wondering. Like, there are a whole bunch of ways to hook Alec Baldwin into this, okay? You can say he intentionally fired the trigger, pulled the trigger, he did it on purpose. There you go. That's a direct line. We don't need to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Or there are other things, like what if Alec Baldwin was fucking shit-faced the night before? Did you show up on the set drunk? Because now that becomes the whole thing. That becomes, oh my God, AM Talk Radio would love that, wouldn't they? Alec Baldwin shows up shit-faced and starts waving the gun around. That's what the story will become. But really, in reality, he might have had a couple of drinks the night before. And now there is a savvy prosecutor, who's going to try and link that into, we believe he may have been inebriated. And, these Hollywood folks, maybe some of the cocaine was in there too. They'll do that and they'll run with that and they'll lose in court. But the prosecutor, who again wants to be a senator or whatever, he's going to be on TV a lot the next 9 months. So, and I'm all for this, whatever, rake Alec Baldwin over the coals, but I don't think he's going to jail. He didn't do this. This wasn't on purpose. Can't say the same for the armorer. Don't know what her deal is. She fucked up. She seems like a dirt. Yeah, man. She seems like kind of a dirtbag chick. She's like, yeah, I do stuff with guns and blow shit up. What the fuck, man? She seems like that kind of a chick. Terrible stuff she's gonna go through, but I don't know. Independent film. They I guess they didn't go out and hire or maybe they did. Maybe this is what the top level of the film set armorer is like. Someone who's just always willing to blow shit up. All right, we'll move on. Alec Baldwin, he's going to face possibly new charges. Not yet. Possible. They're talking about it. They're thinking. And again, I'm telling you, I'm interested to see what this connection is with these new charges. Because I think the easiest way to do it is to just say that he was drunk the night before. He was drunk. He was hungover. He wasn't acting responsibly in his role as a pretend-timed actor. What do you mean not acting responsibly in his role? Whatever. Mr. Baldwin, did you know that you would be performing a scene in the morning while holding a gun? I did. Mr. Baldwin, how much did you have to drink the night before? You see what I mean? They'll do that, and it'll be like, oh, Alec Baldwin was drunk. Britney Spears is trending. Britney Spears got a new memoir coming out, and oh my God, you guys. Did you hear about this? Hey, you hear about gather around. Chat room people, gather around. Did you hear about this with Britney? She's got this new book coming out. And typically whenever somebody puts out a biography and the subject themselves are involved, well, that's what a biography is, I guess. No, that's what an autobiography is. So, I don't read autobiographies. I don't like to read books about the life of a person written by that person. Now, I know the counter argument is, well, nobody knows the truth about their life more than that person. And I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Nobody also is going to cover up the dirt, the really good shit, quite like the person. So I like a responsible biography by a third party, or a second party, however it is, an outside observer who certainly having access to the individual would be good. Like if the access is participating in it, that's fine. But I like that. Brittany, when I found out she was writing this book, and she was writing it, she's not writing it. She's gonna get credit for writing it. It's gonna be like, but Britney Spears, but she didn't do it. I know how hard it is to write a book. She didn't do it. Brittany, dancing with knives. So when I first heard about this book, I thought this book is going to suck. This is going to be so stupid. This is going to be a book along the lines of, remember the Britney nonsense when she first came out? She's a virgin. She has never, meanwhile, she lost her virginity when she was 12, right? But she's a virgin. Her and Justin Timberlake, they're just in love and they hold hands and they've got purity bliss. That was the bullshit. So that's what I thought this memoir was going to be. I thought this was going to be a crazy lady trying to explain all the stuff she's been blamed for and just blaming the media and blah, 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 all the boring shit. Nope. Apparently not. Apparently, Britney's really talking about shit like this. Did you know that apparently during that time with her and Justin Timberlake, she got pregnant and Justin made her have an abortion? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Back in the time when we were all hotly debating on American radio, this was a big subject back then. I remember this big debate. Are they really virgins? I was like, no, they are really not virgins. They say they're virgins. There's what? You don't think there's good girls? I go, no, I do. I think there's good girls. I just don't think she's one of them. She just ain't a good girl. Have you ever seen the Hit Me Baby One More Time? That is not a good girl. A good girl doesn't do that. Okay, so yeah, her and Justin Timberlake were having crazy, wild, hot people sex back in 1999 or whenever it was, and their representatives were telling the world that they were good Christian purity. Now Britney's writing a book where she's like, yeah, Justin knocked me up and made me have an abortion because he said he didn't want to have a kid. Woo, that's big. Gonna make me read a Britney Spears biography. She is. All right, more on that coming. Here's another story that's trending around. How about this one? Poop plane 2.0. Remember a couple of weeks back when I told you the story of the guy that actually, was it a guy or a woman? You remember the poop plane? How can you forget, right? The poop plane. I think the story was, I don't know, there were accompanying pictures and it was awful. Somebody, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but something, they just pooped all over in their seat and it was all down the aisle and they had to evacuate the plane. They had to go back to the gate. I don't think they had to land. Were they in the air? I don't know. They had to go back to the gate. Everybody had to get off. They replaced the carpeting in the airplane. They looked at it and they went, we can't even clean that. And they just replaced the carpeting. So that was poop story. That was poop plane. You guys, we got Poop Plane 2.0. Apparently, Poop Plane is a new thing, and people are just pooping in their plane seats. Why is this a thing in 2023? Pooping in your plane seats. I had such great expectations for this year. I didn't think that one of our things was going to be, this is the year we all start pooping in our plane seats. EasyJet flight canceled because of defecation incident. EasyJet. An EasyJet flight, my friends, was canceled and its passengers made the disembark after someone on board the aircraft apparently defecated on the airplane floor. This is what we're doing now. The flight on Sunday evening from the Spanish island. Wait a second. Wasn't there a... Holy shit. Wait a second. Didn't Saturday Night Live just do a bit on this weekend? Didn't Saturday Night Live do a plane poop bit? Hold on, let me see. Let me watch that. Okay. Yeah, I can't find it. I don't know. What would that be called? Anyway, just this past weekend, they did a bit, a sketch on Saturday Night Live. And the sketch was one of those like, interviews with the cast of the new Disney Plus show, right? It was all, and they're all gathering, they're asking fun questions, and all like a YouTube video that we see now promoting shows. So that was the premise of the bit, that it was for some new like Disney show. And they were all asking questions, like they were all reading the number one Googled question about their name. So So one would be like, when we put your name in, the most Googled question about you is, are you dating somebody? And then the person would be like, well, no, I'm currently single. And Pete Davidson played this cast member who the first question or the most common question about them when they go into Google is, why did you poop on that plane? So, and that's the bit, is that it keeps going to all the different people and it's all these really wholesome questions from fans. And then it keeps getting back to the Pete Davidson character. And it's like, okay, we've got another one for you. It says, when you were pooping on the plane, right? That was the bit. That's where we're at in this country. It's 2023. We're all pooping on planes. Saturday Night Live has made it official. They have cauterized it. An EasyJet flight was canceled and its passengers made to disembark after someone on board the aircraft apparently defecated on the floor. The flight, Sunday evening, from the Spanish island of Tenerife to London Gatwick. Can I tell you something about London Gatwick? Fantastic airport. Fantastic airport. You may have to fly in. You may have to fly in to Heathrow. Should you go to London? For all of my jet set friends, should you go to London, you may be required to fly into Heathrow. That seems to be every time I've seen a flight's in the Heathrow. And I don't like Heathrow, and that's why I make this mention. However, if you have the choice on your flight out, do Gatwick. Do Gatwick. It is so much easier. Dude, Gatwick is London's love field. Okay? Avoid Heathrow. I know we feel like we're international people, right? Look at us. We're fancy. We're fly. Don't fuck Heathrow Airport. That place sucks. Gatwick. Gatwick's the good one. In Chicago, avoid O'Hare. Midway is the shit. We know here in Dallas, DFW. Oh my God. Love Field's pretty easy. Love Field's pretty easy. In and out. Very nice. You can go just about everywhere. So that would be my tip to you. This plane was going from Spain to Gatwick. The flight on Sunday evening was brought back to the Aaron Gedhu. Okay, I thought this was the name of the pooper. It's not. This is just somebody who was on the plane. But wouldn't that have been awesome if we had gotten the name of the pooper? Aaron Gedhu, a passenger on board, told CNN Travel the flight had already run into trouble pre-departure when the scheduled plane was switched out for a smaller aircraft, meaning some customers were turned away at boarding. Those who made it on board 2 hours after the scheduled departure then had to wait on the ground for more than an hour while bags were offloaded because the aircraft was then deemed overweight. Man, this is a bad flight. Think about that. So they had this big plane and then like, yeah, we don't need a plane this big. And then so they brought in a smaller plane. But then they used all the bags that were on the big plane, and all the bags that were on the big plane made the smaller plane too heavy to fly. Oops. And then and only then, someone pooped on the floor. As the delay extended, the atmosphere on the packed flight was characterized by suspense and anger. Oh, so they were just the perfect audience to be told someone pooped on the floor. EasyJet planes, as they are, just aren't very comfortable. It's just a basic seat with okay-ish legroom. So everyone was just a bit tense, said Aaron Gedhu. Then the pilot finally gave the all clear. And then he said that it will be about 20 minutes until departure. And that's when the incident occurred. It's at that very moment that the incident happened concerning the defecation. Gedhu said he was seated in the middle of the aircraft, but did see two passengers visit the front airplane bathroom. Then word spread that someone had taken a poop on the floor. An unpleasant smell followed. No one was happy about the situation, but he says most believe the incident was an accident. Oh, no, not an accident. That changes the story. An accident. Come on, man. I don't want anybody having pooping accidents. Pooping accidents are bad, and pooping accidents are out there waiting for all of us. I want to think this guy did it on purpose. I want to think this is just a crazy person who was like, I'm going to take a shit on the floor. That's what I want. That makes it fun. It makes it sad if it's like a person with a, like a poop problem. I guess you can't fly. If you got a poop problem, you can't fly, right? All right. How about this one? Oh, furry sex. This is a fun one. Let's talk about this guy. This, we got two stories in a row here. Let's talk about some perverts. Huh? Let's talk about some degenerates. I call it furry sex. This isn't even really furry sex because I don't think this guy is a furry. There's no way that this guy is a furry. This guy's just a degenerate. Here, let's look at him. Let me see here. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh my God. We got way more show than I thought we had. Well, we started late. So we'll keep going. Although I got to get off here because I got to record with Kelly this evening. Practical Picks, week 7. Let's see here. If the car is a rockin', don't bother knocking because the guy inside maybe having sex with a stuffed animal. An Arkansas cop last Sunday spotted a suspicious car parked outside a commercial storage facility that had been broken into 16 times this year and 36 times back in 2022. A sheriff's deputy noted that the vehicle in question that he'd observed was seen rocking around 12:45 a.m. When the cop looked inside the auto, he spotted Theodore Morgavin. Oh, Teddy Morgavin, 55. This is such a bad thing that, look, I'm not 55, I'm 54. So I kind of feel like this guy's part of my generation. Oh, this is a bad one to have hung on you. This is a bad one to have hung on you at 25, but you can survive it at 25. 55? Nah, this is who you are, Teddy. Teddy Morgan, this is who you are. You're a guy who has sex with stuffed animals in an Arkansas. Let's say a sheriff deputy noted that the vehicle in question was rocking around. Let's look at this guy. Yeah, we should. While I read you the rest of the information, get a look at this guy. So this guy, it's like one of those you store it places. Cops making his little pass through there because the place gets robbed all the time. Cop notices old Teddy, old Theodore. He's in a car, and the car's sort of rocking back and forth. Cop thinks the two people are having sex, so the cop walks up to the car. Turns out it's this dude right here having sex with a giant stuffed animal. No coming back from that, Teddy. You're a 55-year-old man who just got arrested for having sex in public with a stuffed animal. There ain't no second chances for you, my friend. That is who you are. Etch it in stone, my guy. Since Morgan, okay, so when the cops looked inside the auto, he spotted Theodore Morgavin, 55, having sex with a stuffed animal. Morgavin, a divorced father of 3. Gee, I wonder what wrong in the marriage. A divorced father of 3 lives about a mile from the storage facility in the Midway. Okay, so he's at some point he had a wife and he had 3 kids, and now he's 55 years old in the parking lot in the middle of a night of a used storage place, having to talk to a cop about why he's having sex with a stuffed animal. Man, life is funny. What were the 15,000 decisions that he made that led up to this moment? Because, there's this guy. No coming back from that. When the cop looked inside, spotted Morgan, 55, having sex with a stuffed animal. Morgavin, a divorced father of 3, lives about a mile, and he just lives a mile away, dude. It's a mile away. Why are you doing this in public? Well, you live a mile. Take your little furry friend back to your, wherever it is that you're staying. You're doing it in a car, man. And what was with the you store it? I don't get it. Since Morgavin is on probation, there's a new piece of information. Cops were able to search him and his auto without the need for a warrant. According to a probation cause affidavit, that search turned up methamphetamine, a syringe, and 2 marijuana pipes. Seen above, Morgavin was charged with 2 felony drug charges and misdemeanor counts of public sexual indecency and possession of drug paraphernalia. Let's see here. He was charged. He was charged with felony drug. He was charged with 2 felony drug charges and misdemeanor counts of public indecency and possession of drug paraphernalia. At his arraignment today, Morgavin, who is now free on $5,000 bond, entered a not guilty plea. He's next due in court on the 30th. Morgavin was convicted earlier this year on narcotics charges. Okay, so he's a drug junkie. Yeah, right. So he's one of those. Yikes. Again, people, that's drugs. That's got to be drugs. That's got to be drugs, mental illness, maybe a combination of the two. Drugs don't cause mental illness unless, there's already something there. Mental illness does cause drug use. All right, moving on. So we covered furry sex. How about this one? We got another one for you. This is, tell you about this guy. This guy also comes to us from the wonderful people at the Smoking Gun. Here, let me pull it up. Is it down here? Boom. All right, here we go. Yeah, now look at this guy. This guy looks like, if I went to a bar tonight, like on Beltline, if I went to a bar tonight off Beltline, I would see like 50 dudes that look exactly like this guy. Here you go. He looks very, now, having said that, he totally looks like he's capable of doing what it is he's accused of. And what is it that he's accused of? Well, I'd like you to meet Ryan Smith. This is Ryan Smith. He's 41 years old. He works for a funeral home. You know what Ryan Smith's job is? Ryan Smith's job is to go and get the body. Go and pick up the body, scoop up the body, clean up the body, whatever it is. That's his job. He is the first guy to arrive on the scene from the funeral home to be like, okay, scoop you back together, whatever you got to do. It's a gross job, is my point. It's a ghoulish job. It is a dark, freaky, weird job that I am certain the people who are drawn to that line of work are dark, freaky, and weird. Also wealthy. That's right. You know what's funny about that now that I think of it? Let me look at the chat room. Let me see if somebody's in the chat room. And we see KB in there today, Kevin Barber in there. Because like some chick that we went to high school with who was like super awesome. She's like a super awesome, totally normal chick. She ended up being like a mortician. I always think that's weird because she doesn't seem like the type that would become a mortician. She was friendly and she was pretty and all that stuff. Anyway, I don't see KB in here. Anyway, I was gonna say, hey, remember Karen Darcy? She became a mortician. Funeral home worker responsible for transporting dead bodies in Nebraska is suspected of having an intimate encounter with a life-size sex doll that he found in the apartment of a deceased person he went to go pick up. Investigators say that Ryan Smith, 41, and a colleague were dispatched last week to a home at the Rock Creek Apartments in Omaha to collect the body of an individual who had died there. Near the body on the bed, when they arrived, was a very real life-size sex doll. Police alleged that Smith subsequently called the property manager and claimed that the local sheriff had asked him to remove the sex doll to collect swabs for a biopsy. Smith's strange request was denied by the manager, who later returned to the apartment to discover that Smith was inside the unit, which had been locked with a deadbolt from the inside. After Smith exited the apartment, with his shirt untucked and his pants in disarray, the property manager called cops, who later busted Smith on felony burglary charge. A post-arrest examination revealed that the sex doll to be sticky. And, we don't need that. That is not... I already had sex with a sex doll. How hot was this sex doll? Wait, why? What? Wait. Can I take it back? Can I take that back? That is not something I ever want. How hot was the sex? It's a doll. It's not hot. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's a sex doll. It's a weird thing. Although some of them look really, really lifelike. But I don't want, that would suck. And you got to have that. You've got to, don't think about having the sex doll. Okay, so you got a sex doll. You want a sex, Byron, Barney, where's my guys? Ross, all right, so we find ourselves in a place in life where, God love it, we decide we're going to get a little adventurous. We decide we plop down to like $5,000. Aren't they like expensive? I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about, they were shopping for sex dolls and they're like crazy expensive. Anyway, they were shopping for sex dolls. Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Anyway. So some of them, they look, real. They're expensive. I was thinking on sex dolls. Anyway, I just can't. It seems, first of all, it's sad, right? Like, what am I doing? I'm going to spend that much money, and then I've got this. It's a doll. It's a mannequin, and I've crossed some Rubicon into weirdo land, where like the minute I pull out my credit card to buy that thing, I'm no longer one of us. I'm one of them. You know, the weirdos. I'm now like, I've bought a sex doll. Oh, I don't want that. Then think about this. Let's walk through this. You got a sex doll. Again, boys, you, me, but whatever. Ross, we get to buy. We're not buying a sex doll together. Let's just say individually at some point in our lives, we find ourselves in a place where we need a sex doll. Not Cam. Cam's the exec producer of today's show. He'll never need a sex doll. He's dropping them big tips. I'm sure Cam's getting laid all the time. All right, so we get a sex doll. Think about this. First of all, we're not telling anybody we got a sex doll. Nobody can write. No way. I mean, those are the really weird ones. Like the people who are like, yes, I have a sex doll, who have no awareness of how that's perceived by others, right? They're just like, yes, I have a sex doll. No, okay, fuck, you're crazy. All right, so we got those people. But let's assume that us, me, Barney, Ross, not Cam again, because remember, Cam doesn't need to. He's dropping them big tips and getting laid all the time. So, but the rest of us, we get the sex doll. So we got to hide it. This isn't something, this is a doll. This is a human-sized doll. The fuck, we going to hide this thing? And, you know, how much work is involved in this? Like, okay, obviously there's cleaning, right? Is it dishwasher safe? I don't even know. What? Do pieces come out, right? Do I got to go in the backyard with a hose, right? Spread her legs around a tree and just hose her. How does that work? But most importantly, where do you store this thing? This is not a sex toy that you can bury under some socks or underwear in a side drawer. This is a giant human-sized doll with some heft and some weight to it. No, Ross, I am going to include you. I'm just saying. So this guy, so let's see if we can replicate his experience. So he shows up at Sucks. He picks up dead bodies in Nebraska. His life blows. Oh my God. Although I wonder what that pays. Seriously, I would do that right now. If somebody called me right now on the phone and said, dude, you want to pick up dead bodies for, you know, a couple bucks? We'll give you like $100 a body. I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that. Because I'm at that point. But this guy seems to have made a career of it. Like this guy seems like this is what I do. Not me. I would just do it and, you know, till I got some money. And then I'm like, I got to get out of this job. I can't do this job. But this guy's doing it. So he shows up at the place and he's like, oh, yeah, it looks like we got another dead old man. Goes in, dead old man in the bed, giant sex doll laying on the bed next to him. And this guy, like, he's like it was in that moment. You know, it was an instant decision. He didn't think this through. Although he's probably not thinking a whole lot of stuff through. I mean, look at him. And then he's got to concoct this plan. Like he's got a guy he's working with. There was another guy that was there. That guy didn't get in trouble. That guy didn't do anything with a sex doll. That guy probably didn't even know. So he's like got his partner. He's like, yeah, let's move the body out. And at this point, he wanted to take the sex doll, but he knew the guy that he was working with knew that there was no reason for them to be taking the sex doll. Why are you taking the sex doll? And then he got embarrassed. So he takes the body out. They do the whole thing. They go back to the funeral home, drop the body off. And then this dude, he picked up the phone and he calls now he's alone. He calls, he's like, yeah, I was just there picking up the body. The police want me to grab the sex doll. And the dude's like, fuck you, weirdo. Police don't want you to pick up the sex doll. You're like a dude who scoops up the remain. You're like a dirtbag guy. The police aren't asking you to handle any kind of evidence that they might need. It's not a thing. So the dude hung up the phone on him. I don't know. Somehow he found his way back into the place. He gets there. He's going to town. Why was, oh, well, here you go. Again, size, practicality of the sex doll. I'm wondering, why did he go into the apartment and have sex with the sex doll there? Why wouldn't he? Because I'm guessing he broke in because he called the guy, manager, for a key to let him in. Remember, pretending to be on behalf of the police. So he didn't have a key. So he obviously kicked it in and he went inside. So he goes inside. Why doesn't he take the sex doll? Just get in and out, man. Kick the door and grab the sex doll. Be gone. No, he stays. He's going to enjoy it. He puts on some air supply. You know, he gets comfortable. And that's when the old buzzkill, the property manager shows up, starts banging on it. But good news, at least he finished, as was mentioned in the police report. The sex doll was sticky. So, all in all, he did get something out of it. Although now he's the dude in the Nebraska town who did this. And you got to move to the big city. You got to get out. You can't be this guy. You can't be this guy. You cannot be this guy in a small town in Nebraska. You can be this guy in Boston. Because you can just blend as a whole, but you know what I mean? It's like, you cannot be, there's like 40 people in the town. And now he's the one that did this. Ugh. Let's see here. What else? What else do we got? Oh, okay. This is so awesome, guys. Did you know about this? Did you know about flag football becoming an Olympic sport? Oh my God. I think that's cool. Like my gut reaction to hear it because, well, first of all, America, win some more gold medals. Why not? I'm all for, racking up gold medals. 7-on-7 flag, America. 11-on-11 flag, America. One touch, whatever it is, whatever variation of football they're going to roll out there for the Olympics. And I also like that they're calling it flag football. Because, the rest of the world thinks football means soccer. So this is sort of a nod to us going like, okay, you created something here. Respect. So, yeah, flag football is going to be in the Olympics now. And that's really cool. And guess what? This is what's so awesome about this story. I love this story because this is a real thing. This is something that we have to look forward to. This is a real thing. It is a medal sport. There are going to be people, athletes, who win gold medals for playing flag football in the Olympics. And guess who those people are going to be? That's right, professional football players. The National Football League propelled the plucky upstart sport of flag football into the Olympics. Now organizers are opening up the door for the biggest NFL stars to play in the Olympic Games and win gold medals. The U.S. already has a men's national flag football team that's the best in the world. Oh, you don't say? I'm guessing, yeah. The U.S. already has a men's national flag football team that's the best in the world. It also is home to the planet's best tackle football players, some of whom have already said that they are intrigued by the possibility of playing and representing their country and winning gold medals. This first sport will be where's it going to be the first time? Los Angeles, 2028. Yeah, that makes sense. America, the first time flag football as a medal sport. America, Los Angeles Games, 2028. Let's see here. And now flag football's national governing body, didn't even know there was one of those. And now flag football's national governing body and the NFL, along with it, is greenlighting the chance for the league's biggest stars Boom. Are we back? You guys, are we back? Did we lose the connection for like a second? Someone in the chat room, let me know if we're back or not so I can continue because I guess I don't. Test. No, Ross. Nah, look, I'm going to meet you halfway, Ross. Ross says that there are too many Olympic sports. Yeah, there are too many fucking stupid Olympic sports. You're absolutely right. Flag football ain't one of them. I will absolutely watch Patrick Mahomes throwing to Justin Jefferson for Team America. Are you kidding me? You're out of your minds. Yes, I agree. I do. I agree with you. I agree with you, Ross. There are too many stupid Olympic sports. Nobody plays discus. What? You're throwing a plate? That's a dumb sport, right? Like it's 2023. Why are we throwing a discus? Why don't we throw a baseball? If the look, here's the thing, and it doesn't have to be a baseball, but a ball like that. If the thing is like, well, this is the contest to see who can throw the furthest. They used discs back then because I don't know why, but they chose it. We don't have to use discs. We don't use discs. Discs are not a thing. Did they use discs in war back then? Was that a thing? Like, I'll throw this disc right at his head. Was that a thing? Shot put, maybe. Throw heavy rocks at people. Like that, we don't need to do that shit anymore. So if the modern Olympics would like to, let's see who can throw. Let's see who has the greatest athletic arm strength. So I would imagine it would be something kind of like a baseball. Now, not a baseball, because baseball is an American sport, although it's a world sport too. But maybe so we invent a ball that looks just like a baseball, but it doesn't have the grip things, because you don't need to throw it like that. You just need to throw it as anyway, whatever. That's what we need to do. No, see, Jeff, don't get old, dude. Flag football is the fastest growing sport in the world. It has 2 television contracts right now. Just because you're not, it's massive. That's why it was greenlit as an Olympic sport. Flag football is real. Now, here's the fear. And this is a very real fear. With the rise of flag football, and also the rise of awareness about head injuries and everything, and the overall more acceptance and the normalizing of flag football as an everyday thing. See, we think of flag football as just being that thing you do when you can't hit. All right, flag football is a lesser than regular football. That's where this is changing. And once that changes, I'm not saying it's going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but 15 years from now, what we call NFL football might look a lot more like flag football than it does. I mean, hell, there are people who watched football back in the 70s who will tell you that the modern NFL looks a lot more like flag football than it does real football. So this is the way it goes. It's the way the world changes. I think I'll be long dead, so I'm gonna have to sit through that. I'm gonna enjoy people, scrambling their brains with crushing hits and receivers going over the middle. I love that shit. But then again, I was born in 1969, so that's the kind of animal I am. This is not a terrible idea. This is an amazing idea. This is going to be the biggest and most watched sport in the Los Angeles Olympics. Nobody's gonna watch flag football. Oh, shut up, Jeff. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's freaking every major NFL star from your favorite team and my favorite team taking on Italy. It's gonna be a fucking dream team type experience. We're gonna win games 150-7. It's gonna be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Do you know how much speed there is in the NFL? Football speed, too. That's the other thing. The rest of the world, we might play a team from, Bulgaria, right? The Bulgarian flag football team, they might be good. And they might have some guys with a little bit. They don't got football speed. Hey, there ain't no dude from Bulgaria that's going to be able to cover Tyreek Hill. Are you out of your mind? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be the greatest Olympic experience we've ever had as Americans since the Dream Team. But it's going to be better because it's going to be in LA. Dream Team where was Dream Team? It was Barcelona, right? And then where that was? All right, now let's move on to, we're going to close out today's show. Here's the last one. Oh, wait, yeah. What? Oh, hold on. Oh my God. I almost forgot about this. My entire day. Hold on. All right. Oh, man. See, we're doing Radio Misfits tonight. God, what's the Ranger game? You know what I mean? Like, game starts at 7. Oh, okay. So Kelly and I are going to record at 6:30. We should be done just as it starts. Yeah. Ranger game tonight. Very excited. 7:03 start. So. Got magic. All right, so here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. This is the last thing. We're going to get into this, and then I'm going to let you all go. And I appreciate you being here with me. Even the ones who don't think flag football is going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be awesome, man. Our uniform's going to look cool. We're going to dominate. We're going to have, seriously. I mean, you think the running quarterbacks are impressive in NFL? Way you get out there without the pads and they're just running and trying. Woo! Oh, it's going to be amazing. Patrick Mahomes has to be, or Lamar Jackson. I don't know. We need an elusive quarter. Who's going to be the quarterback for? Who's going to be QB1 for Team America? Oh, tell me, sports radio ain't going to have a lot to talk about then, huh? QB1, Patrick Mahomes. QB2. Because again, we're not talking about pocket passers. This is flag football, okay? Pocket pass is not a thing. Elusivity, right? It's got to be somebody who's quick back there, can run, can extend plays. So that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for Herbert. We're looking for Mahomes is definitely the guy. Mahomes is definitely QB1 for America's flag football team. But who's QB2? Let me look at that chat room. Anybody got any suggestions? Yeah. Could be. All right. So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about. Let me get rid of this. I want to head out with this because I thought this was absolutely. This is one of my favorite. Look, life sucks. But bullshit happens all the time. We're all just a couple of minutes away from our next. Oh, what the fuck moment, right? Those things, they just come constantly. So we have to take our little victories where they come. Yeah. Okay. So this was a little victory for me. This was just a little something that made me feel good, made me just smile, and made me go, and then, she lost. So, it wasn't all that. It didn't hurt me in the end.
Fourth down, walk in. Fourth down, walk in. Fourth down, walk in. Fourth down, walk in.
I love her. I stand by my initial tweet, which I just want to take her home. I want to feed her lettuce. I want to make her live in my basement in a little terrarium. She's adorable is what I'm saying. She's a little hamster lady. She was adorable. She was so cute. San Diego Chargers fan. And then there's a lot of people out there. Like she became a thing because that's what happens. People organically become memes. People organically becomes Byron. Network paid fan. So the NFL needs to pay fans because ain't nobody going to NFL games. Shut up, Byron. That's dumb. That is just a dumb. Explain the logic in that. So the network, because what? They can't sell tickets to games because every fucking NFL game isn't sold out. They gotta get some. Don't be stupid. Okay, that's dumb, and that's why we're doing this segment because a lot of dumb people, and Byron's not dumb. Byron's just funny, but a lot of people have been saying that. But I do want to drill down on that for a second. Let's drill you and me, Byron. Let's drill down on that. I love the conspiracy too. It's funny. Okay. To what end? Like, why? Like, okay, if the conspiracy is she's not real, she's paid by the NFL, to what? Hype America's biggest sport? Well, because the NFL, Monday Night Football, what are the 30 million people watching? The NFL needs to pay an interesting looking, lady to be overly enthusiastic because there are people overly enthusiastic. And I got a question for all the conspiracy theorists out there who are like, no, it's just paid to hype the league. How about this? Was this the same thing? Was this is the NFL involved in this stuff too? Because let me tell you, NFL fans are freaking nuts, okay? NFL fans don't need, the NFL doesn't need, look at it, did you get This is Cowboy fans versus Charger fans. Cowboy fans versus Charger fans from the game. Same game that lady was at. That lady, look, if she's a paid fan, fine, whatever. She's having fun, but she ain't a paid fan. She's just a crazy lady. She's a crazy lady who's way into her shit. But again, let's walk through that. Paid fan. So there's a program somewhere in New York on Madison Avenue at NFL headquarters. There's an office somewhere, and you're telling me that there is a program where they are just paying people to look like they enjoy NFL football. That's the conspiracy. Or let's go this way. ESPN was doing it. ESPN was doing it. They're paying people to look like they're having a good time at the game. Why? Because nobody's watching Monday Night Football. because Monday Night Football isn't weekly, the highest or second highest rated show of the week. What is the logic with that? I love it. So anyway, we know more about this lady. She's so cute. She went on Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee got to the bottom of all of it. She was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. What's her name? Her name is, what's her name? 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 What Oh, what is this? Dove Kleiman. What did Dove Kleiman write? I don't think I saw this. Hold on. Oop, don't need that. Yeah, okay. All right, what does this say? All right, so here we go. This says, let me see here. It says, people on social media are killing this poor woman because of this photo. To be clear, even before this picture came out, she told the Pat McAfee show she became a Chargers fan when they moved to LA back in 2017. Okay, so now this is why, like, there are people like, see, she's not a real fan. She's paid. She's at all the games. So look at her. See, there it is. Same lady going absolutely nuts. Only this time it was the Minnesota Vikings who were paying her to like their team, because that's what these teams do. They pay people to like their teams. What kind of fucked up business model is that? The NFL is worth like $200 billion and people think that they got to pay. Anyway, she explained her story. She's from Minnesota. She lived in Minnesota her whole life. And she got married. She moved to San Diego. She's a football freak. She's been a football freak her whole life. And when she was in Minnesota, she's Vikings or die, ride or die. You know how that is with your hometown team. But she got married. She moved to San Diego or wherever. I guess she's in LA, right? That's where it is. Not San Diego. I'm old. I forget. They moved. She's in LA now. She adopts a new team, kind of like how everybody else does, right? Look, there are pictures of me walking around in I used to have, actually, I don't know if there are any pictures of me in this, but I used to have it was for something that Roger Staubach had done. So they printed up all of these, not printed up, but they made up all of these. They're cheaper than regular jerseys, but they were kind of nice. And they were like mock-up Staubach jerseys, right? There's probably pictures of me wearing that. Are people going to go, see, he's not a real Bears fan because he was shown wearing a Cowboys. I also like the Cowboys. Come on, leave this girl alone. This girl's awesome. So she went on Pat McAfee. Let's watch this. Let's watch her little interview. She's so cute. Boy, I'll tell you, I still want to take her home and feed her. Nope, don't need that. Boom. There we go. Hold on. There we are. Give me a second here. Let's watch her. Let's get to the bottom of this lady. She was on the pack. All right, here. What is her name? Forgot her name. Marianne something. Marianne. I almost said Marianne Chang because I seriously thought it was Marianne, because I thought, I'm like, that sounds right. But it's not Chang. It's just another Asian name. But now I'm a racist for going, I think that sounds right. You know why? Because it does sound right. Because she's Chinese and she's got a name like that. I'm slightly crazy. All right, here she is. She's adorable. Here she is.
So, Marianne, there's some skeptical people out there, a couple in the studio. I won't name names.
Darius Butler, Anthony DeGilio.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. Over there. Hi, Marianne. So, Marianne, were you offended by when people like this said, hey, she's a plant, she's working for the NFL, she's a robot, she's an alien, this can't be real, no one's that passionate?
You know what? I wish I was getting paid. I wish I could make myself, AI and as beautiful as I want. But at the end of the day, this is me, guys. This is me. Crazy mama 4, crazy Chargers fan, crazy freaking football fan. And it is what it is. I'm not offended.
What do you like at your kids' games? Do your kids play sports? What do you cheer like that?
Oh, gosh. If you ever get in touch, so all the moms are texting me. They're like, why are people saying you're fake? Because this is how you're at flag football. This is how you are when you're at soccer. This is the basketball finals. This is you. And I'm like, yeah, I guess my poor kids have to deal with this every day. But now it's crazy. It's overwhelming that the whole world thinks this is so different, because my kids have had to deal with this all their lives.
Marianne, this is awesome. Yeah. It's so awesome that people think it's fake. That's what the world is that we're in. So we appreciate you joining us and explaining all this stuff.
There you go.
So, Marianne,
Okay, we're done with you, Marianne. Marianne Doe is her name. Her name is Marianne Doe, spelled D-O. I saw Adam ask, is she Chinese? Doe to me sounds like Cambodian, Vietnamese, so definitely not Chinese. Doe is not Chinese. Byron, that's exactly what a network plant would say. See, you can't win. You can't win when facts aren't real, when there is no institution to lean on and go, okay, that's my true north. That's a fact. When that doesn't exist anymore, it's just me and Byron screaming at each other. That's all we are at this point. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. Tip the show if you can. That would be great. Drop a little something in us. I don't think we've gotten any tips for today's show. Go Rangers. It's the Rangers. Rangers tonight, 7 o'clock. Arlington. Here we go, baby. Here we go. This is going to be a good one. You know what's going to be like? We go up 3 games to nothing. You know what's going to be like? We go up 3 games to nothing. You know what? You know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like exactly like it is now, because let me tell you something. We don't get too excited. Not around here. No, we savor every win. We know how many wins it takes. It takes 4 wins. This is a 4-win series. So we're not going to get too excited after tonight. Hell, we may even lose a game. We may even be okay with that because we know this team has magic. Rangers have magic. I tell you, I can't be any more. I'm going out on a limb. You know, it's like, people every day I'm saying this, fully expecting the lessers of you out there that, should I be wrong? See, I told you they suck. But you know what? Honestly, why don't you go with it? What happened? Did we lose the song? Hold on. Why can't you just go with it? Why are there people that are still, like, I know people who are sports fans. Texas sports fan, Dallas sports fans. They're like, Dad, I'm just going to disappoint you. Man, I'm sorry you've been hurt so bad in your life. I'm sorry that you have become broken to the point where you can't enjoy the moment because you're obsessed with the fear that the moment that follows the moment is going to suck. And that's what you do. I say that to my kid all the time. Don't ruin the moment you're in worrying about the moment to come, because there are some bullshit moments to come. So laugh now if you can laugh now. Take advantage of that. And for God's sakes, go all in on the Rangers, because having a broken heart is the red badge of courage of every sports fan out there. Go Rangers! Bye, everybody. See you tonight at 9 for Radio Misfits. Misfits.
I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401, I don't have the greed. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.